Hello, everyone, and welcome to Two Dudes Snapping. This is our inaugural episode. My name is NickDaGreekGeek, and I am here with Joe from Snap Decisions. Joe, how's your week been in Snap?
Oh man, it's definitely been different. I mean, we got the new game mode that I played all the way through and got all the stuff that I was going to get. Yeah, I mean, anytime they put something new into the game and make it a little bit more exciting, it's a fun week. Plus, I was already infinite, which is always nice too, because you don't really have to worry about that anymore either. But yeah, it's been a pretty fun week in Snap, and I like when they put new stuff in. It always makes for a fun time.
I agree. And I'm finding as well the high voltage mode is such a nice mode to have for banging out bounties and missions, especially like those play some 6 cost cards. I'm like, sure, I'll toss that into high voltage. I am going to miss that because what I would normally do is just hop into proving grounds and bang out, missions or whatever. High voltage just makes it so easy. There's no risk at all.
Yeah, there's no risk for losing. I mean, the only thing that I saw in it, and I have to laugh because when you first get, I don't know what made me think this, but I had kind of assumed incorrectly that it was going to be random cards. I don't know why I thought that was going to be the case, but it was actually, it was your decks. You're going in with a deck. But anyway, when I saw it about maybe 2 hours later, you saw a lot of the streamers coming up with the top deck lists. Like they were right on top of it. And there was a deck. Now, thankfully, this only got played against me once. That thing with Electro and Hydra has to be like one of the sorriest things anybody could ever do in that mode to somebody. I'm like, how could you be so toxic that you do this to someone in this mode? Like when you're supposed to get the extra energy and then you can't play a card. And then all of a sudden I turn on a couple streamers and they're showing the deck. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, don't show this toxic garbage. Like, what are you doing?
And I love Glazer, but some of the decks that he shared, I'm like, this is supposed to be for fun. We're here to have fun. Like, I want to be able to do my stupid Wong shenanigans. I don't want to be blocked. It's no fun otherwise.
Yeah, and I think that you hit the nail on the head. It's supposed to be for fun, but yet there's just people out there who are so competitive that even if there's no stakes for winning, and there's no stakes for winning or losing that. You're just getting those, what is it, 20 volts?
Nothing.
Like, it is nothing. And so there's no stakes for winning. So who cares? And yet still people want to ruin your day with that sort of combo, or like an Eliath all the time, or like, it's like, come on, man. Like play the game. Really, the mode is really for silly combos.
Yes.
Like it really is. I mean, and that's why it's fun to see yourself or someone else get one of those silly combos off that you're never going to probably see on Infinite Ladder. That's the only thing. I think if I had to change something going forward, if they ever do it again, I would ban a couple more cards. There'd be a couple more cards I take off that list. Electro would be one of them. Anything that would stop you from playing more than you could. I think I'd even take Eliath off the list. And, so I think they should add a little bit more to the banned cards list if they ever do it going forward. But other than that, that was really minuscule, and I only saw that one time playing, so I can't even really complain about that. But I know there are other people that have told me that they saw it a bunch more times than I did.
Thankfully, I never got hit with that, but the number of Elias, the number of Cosmos, it's like, don't bring Shang-Chi here. Like, you've got Shang-Chi everywhere else. Let us have this mode. It was the first time in all of my time playing Snap that I hit that integer limit with Black Panther and Wong. And we're done. We've got everything, and it was just nice. It was free. It cost us nothing.
Yep. I didn't spend any gold on it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I thought about it initially, and then I was like, you know what? No, I don't need any of these cards any sooner. I'll get it when it comes. And it really, if you do your missions, like I was done like a day and a half, 2 days ago.
I think it took me 4 days. I think I was done in 4 days total. I get it. There's people who, I think I was listening to the Kid Snaps podcast. No Big Deal is saying how he doesn't like to do missions. Now, if you're a person like that, then you're probably not going to enjoy it. But I don't mind it. And that's one of the reasons why I play the game, really, is because I'm a mission completer. I always have been. Like, even in other games, I like to just go in and get my missions done. So I've always been doing that. So for me, I didn't mind going in and doing the missions and stuff like that. Now, I wasn't going to do them every time they opened up, obviously, because sometimes that's like early in the morning. And, for a first attempt, and listen, like you said, we got a free card. And really, the Iron Man variant's just a bonus, but we got a free card out of it. And if they're going to do stuff like this every month, to give us a free card. One of the things people complain about the most in the game is series drops. When are people going to get more cards? Well, if you're going to get an extra card every month, that's pretty good.
Speaking of, I don't have this on the agenda, but I know you saw that announcement about the series drops, which is nice. I find it's always tough for people like us because we are collection complete. I'm looking forward to it to see people be able to play a lot of the cards, and I know it's going to make the community much happier because there's just way too many Series 5 cards.
Yeah, and there's Series 5 cards that really aren't even that good, that don't even belong to be Series 5 cards anymore. I think I saw on the Discord, on their Discord, somebody asked about Kang, and I was like, let it be, man. Just don't even. I mean, they did say that they were going to look into the card at some point because it's just not playable. Look, one of the biggest things with this game, and I think I mentioned it on my pod last week, is, you're getting competition now. Pokemon's coming soon, and competition really breeds excellence from other places. So I think they know that. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why we got high voltage. And it's probably maybe even one of the reasons why they're giving out cards. They know that there's going to be people that they're going to lose to that. And they know that there's going to be people that want to play both. But there's things Snap has to improve. And one of them is, the new player experience and also returning players. It's a big thing. And to have all these series, 5 cards where you're stuck, you can't get them until they come back in spotlight caches, that's a bad thing to do. That has to be addressed. I think almost every guest I've had on my pod so far, from Lauren at the beginning to whoever else have been on, has said it, and it hasn't really been addressed. So I'm hoping that I know they know it, and I'm hoping that they see it with they're helping it with now that these new cards that we're getting are Series 4. So that's kind of cool, and I'm hoping that they know they need to address that going forward to compete with another game.
Well, then speaking of Pokemon, it's funny. I've been playing it for a couple of weeks. I have yet to play another human in the game. The only reason I go to the game is for the collection aspect of it. Like I don't feel the desire to play Pokemon, but like we talked about, I know you and I both grew up during a time like Pokemon was after my time. I was still playing games, but I was not at an age where I looked at Pokemon and went, "Ooh, I want to play that." And I've tried. Like I had Pokemon for the 3DS, thinking, get into it. My kids and I will play it. But they were the same thing. They preferred collecting the cards. They never liked playing the game. And it's just like, if I want to play a card game, Pokemon's not going to be the game I want to play.
Yeah, I have a long-standing hatred against Pokemon.
I've noticed. It seems especially the last couple since the Pokemon game came out, you have been very vocal on not giving a shit about Pokemon.
Extremely adamant. Actually, what triggered that? It was funny. I was on Glazer's show, and Glazer started talking about how he's going to do a pod, and he was talking to the other people that were on the show and about it. I think Gunny T was there, and Lauren was there, and I'm like, yeah, no. Like, Pokemon ruined Magic for me. It literally ruined Magic for me. It was just a situation where we were playing Magic. We were in a small little shop. When Pokemon started to get popular, a lot of kids started coming in the shop that were never there before. Like any good shop owner would do, you have to cater to where you're getting money from. And people just weren't buying as much Magic. And he was getting a lot more people coming in for the Pokemon because they were younger kids and stuff like that. And they were buying packs like crazy. When that happened, it really transitioned to the point where maybe in a couple of months, Magic was done. He wasn't having any more tournaments, wasn't doing it because he just wasn't selling it. And all of us, of course, similar to how you and I are now, we're collection complete with all the Magic cards, and there'd only be a set every like 3 months then. Not like now where you get a set every other month. That killed my Magic experience and my so I'm like, but I never got into it. To me, even when what's the one, Pokemon Go came out where you had to go and do the little thing. Yeah, I mean, I tried it for a little while, but I'm like, it's
everybody
not for me.
did.
It's just not for me. And I even noticed that they're coming out with a Magic Marvel set. I saw it.
That's
on the thing yesterday. They brought back a Magic card from way back in my time, the Soul Ring, and they made it Iron Man's arc reactor. So I was like, that's really cool. I got one of those sets once. I got a Walking Dead set that they came out with for that. But yeah, I saw that. I'm like, okay. I see. I like how they're doing that, but I think, see, if they were smart and they want to grab people away from Snap a little bit, they would make an entire box, like one of the big sets, not just those collector ones.
Yeah.
Make a big set of Marvel, like they did Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
They have a Lord of the Rings set similar to that. But make a big Marvel set, and yours truly here might be actually thinking about playing Magic again.
Oh, 100%. Looking at like some of the Storm variants on there, I'm just like, okay, well, I might have to splurge for this one. I might just have to do it.
They look sweet, man. I mean, Captain America's shield is a card. Like it looks pretty cool. But yeah, it's hard to get. I got an itch back. I think this was about 6 months ago, maybe or more. They put out, and this was ridiculous, that cost $1,000 for one pack. But you could get any of the original alpha or beta cards. So you can get a Black Lotus in these packs. Now they're reprints, so they're not, but I've already seen those cards because they were so expensive to buy one pack. The people who are lucky enough to get them are already selling those Black Lotus cards for like 5 to 10 grand, which is insane. I would have loved to buy one just for nostalgia purposes, but I'm like, yeah, there is no. I'm watching the whole ad for it, and it was hilarious. These two people on YouTube, there's a guy and there's a woman who's interviewing the guy, and the guy must have been one of the developers or something. I don't know, but she's interviewing him and tell me about these packs, and she's all excited, and then he's talking to her, and they're showing all this stuff, and they're like, you can get any of the rares or super rares or dual lands and everything from the old Magic sets and blah blah blah. And then they get to the end, and she goes, all right, finally we have all this other. So what is the cost? And I'm sitting there waiting. And then he goes, it's $1,000. Oh my. And she looks at him with the funniest look. Like she just goes, and I had to laugh. I'm like, even she thought it was ridiculous. I'm like, this is the biggest money grab I have ever seen from anything. Like, make it $100, make it $100. That's a lot, even for a pack. Because, and then I'm thinking to myself, you buy one of these, you could very easily get screwed and get one of the worst rares that was ever in Magic the Gathering. Like if that were me, my luck with something like that, I'd get like, I'm trying to think of like some of the, like I'd get like Lord of the Pit, which is one of the worst ever rare cards that they like ever made. I know, I that's what I'd get. I wouldn't pull anything good. The chances you have to get like a Mox or a Lotus or any of that stuff is like probably slim to none. And it's like, come on, man, $1,000. Oh man,
you need to have money to make money in that situation too.
That's what it was.
Speaking of Lord of the Pit, it's funny you mention it because I wasn't a really experienced Magic player. A lot of my friends didn't play it, but I really liked it, and my wife was a fan as well. So we would grab some cards. I had a Lord of the Pit, and that was like the prize of my possession. Did I ever play the card? No, but I had it, and it looked cool, and it was old.
I'll take it a step further. So I always played straight black, always. That was just my thing. And my first tournament I ever went to, of course, me being green, having no idea what these tournaments were like because we never had any. And it was pretty big. Like it was I remember it was in a mall, and we went and played, and there had to be 50, 60 players there, which is big for a little area like ours. And I got there, and there I am sitting there in my all black deck. I'm like, oh yeah, man, I'm going to be, and what's in my black deck but a Lord of the Pit, baby. And I'm like, yep, I'm going to be awesome in it. And then I sit down, and my first match, I play a guy who plays the Channel Fireball combo on me and beats me on the second turn. And I'm sitting there like, what? And he goes, yeah, I'm stealing all your life. That if people don't know, for the listeners, a channel card was 2 green and allowed you to channel all of your life into a spell. So then you would take a fireball, which was 1 red, and channel every point of your life into that fireball and beat your opponent in like 2 turns. It was one of the most broken combos ever in the game, and he did it to me on that. And there I am with my lovely deck with my Lord of the Pit thinking, well, this Yeah, black and red was a good combo. We always had big creatures. My thing was called the Juzam Djinn from the Arabian Nights set, which was a 2 black and 2. So he was 4 cost, very easy to get on the board. He's a 5/5, and the only drawback was he did a damage to you every turn, but you didn't care because you could literally Dark Ritual him out on the second turn. So you'd have a 5/5 sitting on the board in the second turn of the game that you're attacking every single turn with. You only have 20 life, so you're going to take 20 life off of them in 3 turns.
Yeah.
unless they do something about it. Red, I hated because red was like just the direct, oh, I'm going to fireball you. I'm going to lightning bolt you. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And people played those decks. And it was where it was just, they're taking off a little bit of you every turn. That's why I did discard, because I'm dumping their hands. They're throwing out those things at me every turn, and they'd lose to me all the time because they'd be out of cards before like turn 4.
Such a shitty feeling when you're on the other side playing. It's just like Mill is in Snap. I'm just like, well, I guess I don't get to play my cards then.
There's a nasty mill deck in Magic too with a card called a Millstone, where you would mill away 2 of their cards from their deck. Now, granted, Magic decks had 60 cards. Yeah. So it's not as easy as Snap because Snap's so small. But you could see the pain of a mill deck. Mill deck sucked because they used, I think they were blue-white based, but they would use a card called a Moat back in the day. A Moat wouldn't let any of your creatures attack. So they put it out. It's an enchantment. Stays on the board. Boom. No creatures can attack. So now your creatures are stuck there doing nothing unless you could disenchant that. And if you're playing with black or anything other than white, you can't. It was like, well, I can't do anything with that. And the next thing you know, they're milling away your cards, and they're going to beat you every game by milling away your entire deck. Horrible. So I can understand people's hatred for mill in this game. Yes. If you were an ex-Magic player, you know the pain.
You've got some PTSD from from just getting your cards milled, because it's especially effective in Snap. Got 12 cards, and it's not difficult, especially with Misery coming out. There were some really interesting mill decks that was like, okay, how about you just don't get to play any of your card? It feels bad. Yeah. Speaking of Snap and cards, I'm gonna try and segue us back, because I could sit here and talk for Magic.
Oh yeah, no, we get off on tangents all the time.
But Magic is the reason that I got into Snap, and so it shares that DNA. I know your collection complete. Did you have fun with Scorn? Did you have any crazy combos with that card that just blew your mind and we're like, wow?
I mean, I really only played it in discard decks. Playing just a standard discard list, but it wasn't doing much of anything. Just the one with Apocalypse and stuff like that. It wasn't really doing much for me. So I heard on the Kid Snaps podcast, I heard No Big Deal talk about a deck. And I'm like, you know what? I messaged him and I said, hey, let me know what your discard deck is like. Because I want to try something different, because I said, mine's not working. So he shared one with me that was with Dexter. I think Dexter used. It's like really good when you get that Scorn in your hand and it's the last one that you're discarding every single time. But the thing is, and I didn't really understand how it kind of worked sometimes, but your key is to more than likely your Dracula is going to take the Scorn if you play it outright. And Scorn can get even bigger than the Apocalypse does sometimes. So it works out pretty well.
So speaking of that Scorn deck, I have it set up now. Let me quickly get that going, and then I can show everyone what that deck looks like.
Sounds good.
What we'll do is we will have a link to this deck in the comments down below. So please feel free to take a peek.
I believe it's Dexter was the original one that did it, and I think No Big Deal said that he took it from him. So this one's been fun. I think I like the Grandmaster's kind of nice in here, because you can always use Grandmaster to Gambit twice. You can use Colleen twice to hit the Scorn or hit the Apocalypse. So it makes it kind of cool. There's fun ways. Like I won a few games just by using Grandmaster on the Gambit on the last turn sometimes, where it just destroys a card. The Hell Cow is cool because again you're getting that extra discard. This one's worked really well. I just played a Gold Conquest a little bit ago, and I won a Gold Conquest with it. Went all the way through, and I was playing Clog. And I played against the Agent Venom deck, and it can rack up some points. You want to get out the Dracula. You want to try to get out the Dracula because obviously, you want either the big Scorn to hit him, or just have him just get bigger if you could discard him enough. Proxima just wins lanes. I mean, she's amazing. Yeah. If you have a lane that you can't get into, 2 lanes, she will just go into that lane if it's blocked off. So that's a cheat. She just wins games. And the Hell Cow, even though he only discards the 1 card, it could be let's say you have Apocalypse and Scorn in your hand at the very end of the game. No matter what he hits, is going to give you an extra hit at the end of the game too. So it's been really good. It's been really good. There are people that are kind of catching on to discard a little bit. They're starting to play a lot more Cosmo. They're playing Shadow King and stuff like that. But yeah, it's been fun. I'm not a huge discard player. I liked it when it was popular like 3-4 months ago. I was playing it a little more, but yeah, that art is amazing. By the way, that's right out of the comics. I think I had that art up on my show last week when I did her in Comics Corner. So yeah, that's very, very cool. I was gonna get it, but I didn't know. I'm like, I'm so leery about spending 1,200 gold now because I know how hard gold is to get.
Like, we're not spending the 700, which I guess when you think about it that way, we're not spending that 700 gold. We're getting those for free. So, spending it now, but we're going to talk about this later. The collector's vault opens, and I don't know about you, but there are some variants that I would really like to get, and I've been saving up gold for that.
It's funny. I went back and looked through them, and I have a bunch of them. I didn't realize how many of them I had. So I went through the list because someone posted the list today. And I went through them all, and I'm like, there's a couple on there, but I'm like, I don't know. Like there wasn't the ones that I really wanted from those I ended up getting, I think, when they came out. So, but yeah, it's coming up, and I know that there's mixed reactions about that, which I found weird. I don't know. There are people, I guess, that were a little upset about that, which I really don't know why they would care if anyone got them or not, but I don't know. Just weird.
What I'm looking forward to is people being able to get the Mystique, this one that I'm trying to desperately. There we go.
I think I have that one. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, the tarot card one, or she kind of looks like a tarot card. Yeah.
It's one of my favorite variants of hers. I do have the ultimate as well because I'm an idiot with my tokens, but this was the first variant that I actually spent money to purchase, and it was well worth it. Like it is just one of the more unique ones. And I don't have a good ink split of this one, and I don't care because I prefer having it with the color still in it. It's too beautiful a card.
Yeah, that's a good one. I do have that one actually.
Nice.
I have the inked. I have an inked art germ. I wanted to get that art germ one inked because I think I saw Cozy do it right on his show.
Yes.
And I'm like, yeah, I got to get, because I mean it looks like a portrait. Like his stuff looks like art you can hang on a wall.
Yes.
And yeah, so yeah, that one. Yep. That's the one. Looks so cool inked. But yeah, it's the gold one's nice though too. The color is cool. But yeah, no, I mean, what are they going to cost? Did they even say the ones in the
They didn't say specifically, but in the image, well, we'll get into that. We will talk about that a little bit later because I've got some pictures that we can discuss that with. Before we get into the actual topics like Toxin and the spotlights that are coming up, I was talking with you about this before. I want to try doing a split on stream.
Oh, yes.
A couple of them. So let us see what we've got here. I've got a bunch of cards. I am desperate for getting a good Nico and X23 split. So I think we'll do Nico first, and then maybe we'll move on to X23. Because I'm desperate for getting a God split on both of these. So say a little prayer for me. I've got a bunch of these to split, and hopefully Splitsmith now will allow this to happen. Let's pretend there's a little drum roll playing.
Oh, nice. I'll take that.
Bad.
Yeah.
That's
pretty good.
Not bad at all.
Black Crackle too. Okay.
Yep. One more. Because I've got a whole bunch of good splits, but I would definitely take a nice gold with Crackle. I mean, gold is fine.
There you go. You got gold, no Crackle, but hey,
the problem is I've got so many gold Nikos. It's so frustrating. But
inked is nice on the tarot card one.
Agreed. And I
like Black Crackle too. Hey, there you go. Gold.
They
Crackle,
were kidding about Splitsmith. I will take that. Ink with a gold. I would like a blue. I've got one more. Maybe this one will get us a blue. Maybe. I've got my fingers crossed. Come on, give me a blue Kirby. And Prism. Fine. That's okay. Considering I got 2 God splits out of these, I'm okay with that. Oh,
Yep.
you know what we need to do? Of course, what we need to do in
Oh
preparation
my
for the
gosh.
bundle that's coming up. I got 2 of these ready to split. Now, hopefully I'm not like, I don't know if you know comics fans, but I think he did like 60 splits before he got his God split for his Galactus.
I watched KM Best do one day. He did a video on the split for a card. I can't remember. Oh, it was Thanos. He did a Thanos one, and he, honest to God, had to spend so much gold because he just wasn't getting. Let me tell you something about Galactus. I have about as many God splits on a card for Galactus as you possibly can have. I got
for such a nice guy. It is amazing that that's the card that you've got a ton of splits on. It's always the nice guys.
I got the let me see if I can I split the comic book cover, which is my favorite one. But I split the comic book cover, and right off I got inked, which I love on the comic books, with the purple crackle. God split on it right off the bat. And I'm like, Galactus splits. When those what are they called? Character mastery.
Oh, yes,
I'm literally I'll literally have Galactus's done day one. I have no doubt I will.
Nice. Well, let me see if I can join the God split for Galactus Club, because I do have my first split was the purple with an ink, and I'm like, that's pretty good. But what if
that's the Jacinto one? Yeah.
Yes. So let's see. Can I get myself a God split? Is that in the cards? I've got 2 to split.
All right, inked and rainbow.
With rainbow? I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I think we need to do all of my openings on stream now.
You're obviously having pretty good luck, yeah?
Yeah. Let's see if we can do...
That's my avatar now, by the way. I got the avatar for the baby Galactus.
The baby Galactus is so good. And maybe I'll get a really good, like, gold. I'll take a gold. That's fine. Gold with the black. That works for me. All right. I want to do one more because I want to keep up the good luck, and I need an X23 split. So let's see what I can get. Maybe. Okay. All right.
And black again.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But can I do better? Can I get like a golden gold? I would love a golden gold. I've been saving these up for so long.
Inked again.
Let's do one more. Come on. This is going to be the one with the golden gold. Well,
golden green.
Hey, at least I have a God split for X23, so I will take it. It's hard to see the black.
Black is it is against the black border.
Now the question is, what border should I put on it? Do I do the black matte? Ooh.
I love black matte on inked. Yes, I use black matte on all my ink cards.
You know what?
Yep.
We're gonna do it.
Yeah, black matte is you have to use. If those of you who are listening have to use black matte on comic book covers as well, you have to. It's like a necessity. You have to put them on the comic book covers. They just fit.
Yep.
And it's they're my favorite ones in the game because I've owned so many of the books that I think it just looks so cool.
That is the dream. You want to have. See, this one looks really good with the blue as well. I'm 100% on board with that. But do I go with the blue or do I go with the gold or do I go with the black? It actually makes the black stand out when you've got the cards.
Yeah, because it's Nico and she kind of dabbles in black magic. I'd probably go with black.
Yeah, let's stick with the black. I'm keeping that border. That border just fits.
Yeah, the border is awesome.
Perfectly.
Yeah.
On to our chat. We need to talk about our comics because we each brought a couple sets of comics with us.
Yep.
So give me 1 second here, and I will get us going into that. All right, so starting up, I want you to start, Joe, because you've got some really cool choices here. Mine are pretty basic, but I think you've got more to say about the comics that you have listed here.
So basically, I have 2. One is Snap related, one is not. But I have the first one, and I mentioned this on last week's show, but I really didn't get to embellish it. One of the coolest Spider-Man comics that I've read in all throughout the years of me reading Spider-Man since like the early 70s was, and it relates to this month in Snap too, because you had Carnage in it, you had Venom in it. So the symbiotes are in there. It's called Maximum Carnage. And this started in a comic book called Spider-Man Unlimited, which wasn't a regular book, and they printed it specifically starting with this particular story. It lasted a little bit after that, but it kind of went away. It was a more expensive book because it was a lot thicker than normal books, so a lot more pages in it and stuff like that. But it started in there, and it ran through a bunch of different titles. And what I liked about it was Carnage. The story was pretty much about Carnage and Shriek. So Shriek we don't have in Snap yet. We will eventually, I'm sure. She was in the movie. If you saw Let There Be Carnage, the Venom movie, she was Venom's girlfriend in that movie, or Carnage's girlfriend in that movie.
I don't think she was well represented for what her character was in the comics.
I
wasn't familiar with her character.
Yeah, she was in an asylum, and that's where he met her, basically, and that he escaped, of course, and then he took her out. He took her with him, but she basically has like a sonic scream type thing that she uses and can paralyze people and all that kind of stuff. But this was just neat. I think reading it back in the day, and this is a 90s book, could have been late 80s into 90s if I remember correctly, but it was just a crossover of a lot of the characters that you normally wouldn't see in books. Like on that second cover there, you'll see Deathlock is in it. Iron Fist is in it. Cloak and Dagger are in it. So a lot of the like street level, maybe you want to call them heroes that were in that kind of paired up with Spider-Man were in this book. Captain America eventually does come in and help because it becomes a thing where they basically are just taking over the city. She's using her scream to paralyze, to do all this other stuff, but then they get other people to join them too. She kind of creates this little demonic type family where she brings in Demo Goblin, who's also not in Snap, but she brings in a lot of these other Spider-Man enemies that are kind of just creatures, and then they have this big battle. This got so popular that it became a video game. This became an arcade game back in the day where you could play as all these heroes. So you could play as Captain America, you could play as Spider-Man, you could play as, and the other heroes would be in there too. And then it ended up coming out on the SNES, if I'm not mistaken. They put it out for the SNES too.
I actually have it for the Genesis. I was trying to find it to see if I could get it for this, but it's in a box in our garage that's like
nice
caught up somewhere. But yeah, I remember that was it was a hard game if I remember.
It was very hard to play. Yes, yep. It was a side scroller, of course, because that's what they were back in the day. But I like this because to me it was probably right after the origin story of Carnage, probably the best Carnage story I had read. Even through all the years. Now I'm learning because of the information on the symbiotes and stuff like that there's a lot more of the symbiote stuff I just didn't do. I didn't know there was a limited Carnage series that led to a lot of these symbiotes and stuff like that. So I'm going back and I'm looking a lot of that other stuff up that came out a little bit ago. They're not new, but they were like 2015, 2016 in and around that. But yeah, this is a great story. If you want to go back, you can find this in graphic novel form where you could just buy the entire thing. You can get it I know it's on Marvel Unlimited, which is where I get most of my books now. It's also, you can get it from Amazon Comixology too. And a lot of their stuff, if you want to own them digitally, you can. And they're cheaper because they're old, and usually the cheaper books are pretty easy to buy. But obviously, I always will say support. If you do have them, go to a comic shop because they are few and far between. They're very hard to find now. And the closest one to me is like an hour away. Support your local comic stores. I'm sure they'll have it somehow, but even like stores like Barnes and Noble and stuff like that would have the graphics novel for it too, if you want to check it out. But it's pretty good. If you're a Spider-Man fan and you're a symbiote fan and Carnage and Venom, go check this one out because it's really good stuff. I believe, I may be wrong and I may have to look this up, but I think Mark Bagley was the artist who has done a lot of Spider-Man over the years. So I do believe he was the artist. That's at least for the covers. So check that out. And then my second
Star Wars there.
Yeah, honestly, like if you are a Star Wars fan, this is a can't miss book. You guys all know, if you're Star Wars fans, after Return of the Jedi was pretty sad time for Star Wars because there was just nothing. We didn't get the prequels until much, much, much later. There were no plans to go forward with any of it. And so you had to get your fill of it in comic books. They continued the series from Marvel, which was going on even when the first movie came out. And then all of a sudden, this title came out. This is a direct sequel to Return of the Jedi. Here's what's cool about this, and the reason why I picked this if you've seen the latest sequel movies, now I know a lot of people have their thoughts about them, and I get it. I was a big fan of Force Awakens. The Last Jedi sucked, and the third one was okay, but it just seemed like a big jumbled mess thrown together at the last minute, and I'm sure that's maybe what it was. But if you want to find out where they got a lot of their ideas for that trilogy from, you need to look no further than these books, because they're like the last part of that sequel, where the Emperor is on that planet Etrigal, I think was the name of the planet he was on. He was creating that new mass of Star Destroyers. Well, that came right from this. There were dreadnoughts in this thing that were planet killers. They used the Death Star technology to kill the planets. So they took stuff right from these books. And I think that what they were doing is, I believe they were adapting these books in that sequel trilogy, but they could not, because the main character at the end of it was Leia. And of course, Carrie Fisher passed away and they couldn't do it. In essence, what happens in this story is Luke figures out that the Emperor is not dead. Shortly after the events in Return of the Jedi, Luke is out on a planet in a battle with some remnants of the Empire. There's a really cool scene where he fights an AT-AT, which again, you see at the end of the movies in Last Jedi. So you see that scene, and he takes down the AT-AT by himself using the Force. But then he finds out that the Emperor's soul, spirit, whatever you want to call it, is still alive. And there is this whole place that he was making clones, which was in the movies. And then he goes to there and he inhabits a body, kind of like he did with Snoke and all of that. So you could see this is where all this came from. Luke realizes that the only way he's going to get rid of the Emperor for good is to kind of turn to the dark side. He has to learn the dark side in order to help get rid of him. So he does. He ends up becoming like the Emperor's second, and he ends up on these ships with him and all that kind of stuff. And then when, the end of the story is that Leia literally has to pull him back, because he gets on the precipice of turning bad, but then Leia goes and ends up pulling him back. So it's a really good series, and it's called Dark for a reason. It is a dark comic book. It is very, very dark for Star Wars lore, but if you are a Star Wars fan and you have not read these books, it's a must read, and it's excellent. And this is what that sequel trilogy should have been. And I really believe they haven't said it or come out and said it as much. Some of the writers and stuff said they were taking little tidbits and stuff here and there, but they didn't credit it. But I know that that's what they were trying to do with the sequel trilogy. But it's really good. They even came out with an audio book of this, where some of the cast members were reading the parts for it.
Okay.
So
I might have to get that, because I've got a couple of credits for Audible that I keep forgetting to use. So maybe that's when I need to use them.
Yeah, it's really, really, really good if you're a Star Wars fan. So that's why I picked that. Yeah, that literally is probably my favorite Star Wars comic of all time.
Yes, they look like good choices, and I'd never heard of them, because I was never a big, for whatever reason, I was never a big Star Wars kid. Star Trek was my thing. So I enjoyed Star Wars. Like, I would watch it, but it never really grabbed me. But the newer movies, like that very first one, The Force Awakens, it was fun. It got me back into it. It got me more invigorated, and then they continued on with it, and then just spat out so much Star Wars content that I didn't care enough to begin with. And then they just inundated us with Star Wars, and I was just like, okay, never mind. I guess
the ending of Force Awakens, when she walks up that mountain and holds out that lightsaber, was one of the coolest things I'd ever seen. Leaving the theater, I was like, this is awesome. And then Rian Johnson just spat on it, like just ruined it, having him throw it over his shoulder like it was garbage. Like, come on, dude. Like he ruined it. And that was it. That really was what was the downfall of that thing. And I still say they should have just let J.J. Abrams just finish the whole thing and did the whole thing through.
I think the problem is J.J. Abrams didn't. I think it's come out that he had no idea what he was planning. Like, he just kind of just winged the whole thing all the way through. And that I think that's where you're right. If he had started with it and kept with it the entire time, I think it would have been great. But I think having him do part of it, then passing it off, and then coming back to take it just, I don't know. The heart wasn't there. And honestly, going back to Force Awakens now, I have a different opinion. I've watched people talk about it. I think I watched the Red Letter Media video on it, and a couple other creators go into some of the details about some of the stuff that, like, these sacrifices that don't mean anything in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
And it sours it, especially knowing that it doesn't feel like they really had an idea as to what they were doing. But you know what? Thing is, there's other media where you can get that fulfillment from. And I know a lot of people don't like it, but hey, it still exists there, and it's still, a good story. And I think I might have to check it out.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely do. If you're a Star Wars fan, for sure. I still read the Star Wars comics today, the ones that are coming out from Marvel. They're kind of going into a cool part now. Actually, they just finished an arc that took place before Return of the Jedi, and now, since like the Return of the Jedi era has been done to death, they're skipping ahead, and they're going to the era of the Battle of Jakku, which is kind of cool because you didn't know when that occurred, what happened there, why did it happen, and all that. So they're going to that next. So, and the artwork on it's fabulous. It's really, really good. The Return of the Jedi stuff, they actually were doing stuff like, where did Luke get his lightsaber from? Nice. How did he get the crystal for his lightsaber? So they went into some pretty cool stuff. So yeah, definitely. But yeah, check out Dark Empire though, if you are a Star Wars fan, no doubt. So,
right, and I'm guessing that's also because you said it was Marvel, right? Or is it
yes.
Dark Horse? I can't remember. Okay.
Oh no, I'm sorry. That was the Dark Horse logo because they were printed in Dark Horse, but now Marvel owns it. So now now you can get them from Marvel.
So there you go. Either local comic book store or Comixology. There's a lot of options for it. Now, the two that I've picked, they're, again, not Marvel, because as we were chatting about in text, I got to a point where it was just like, okay, I like Marvel, but let's move off into the more obscure, more adult themed books. The first one I'm going to bring up is Saga by the author of Why the Last Man. That's where I discovered Brian K. Vaughan, was that book. And I've got I saw it wasn't Fiona Staples, I forget the artist on Why the Last Man. She was at Emerald City Comic Con back in like 2009, and I got her to do sketches of my daughters, so I've got those, and they're just nice. It's very meaningful. But Saga is Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. I don't know if you've ever had the chance to read Saga at all.
I think I read a few issues because I remember that was one of the books that when I would go to my buddy's comic book store that he told me to check out. So I did. It's like it's almost like it kind of reminded me a little bit of a science fiction, like what do they call it? Almost like a fantasy sci-fi type thing. So yeah, yes. Mm-hmm.
I think you'd really like it. It's a very compelling story that deals with sort of a little Romeo and Juliet vibe meets.
Okay.
It's hard to describe, but it's just two unlikely people that meet that shouldn't be together and that aren't allowed together. And they have a daughter named Hazel, and it's about their struggles of trying to keep her safe while keeping themselves safe and keeping their love, alive. And it's a beautiful romance story. It is got some of the most interesting dialogue and some of the most unique characters. There is one species that is a species of TV, and that's what their heads are TVs. And there's one of the main characters that's a prince, and he's such a complex, interesting character. Unlike something like a Joffrey in Game of Thrones, he has depth and complexity to him that keeps him from being just a one-dimensional being. He's got multitudes in him, and all the characters kind of have that. The art is phenomenal. The writing is both dark, depressing, but also it's funny. It is really well written. Brian K. Vaughan has this skill at being able to take dark subject matter. It's kind of like a Breaking Bad style thing, to where you've got dark subject matter, but yet it is still, you want to read it and you are fine with going through it, even if it is dark and depressing, because people die in it. It's very much that kind of Walking Dead style, where you're going to lose characters you care about, and it's going to suck, but you can't stop reading because the story is so compelling. He took I'd say about a year-long break and came back, I think it was earlier this year. And I've been reading some of the new stuff and kind of going back and rereading some of the other stuff that I hadn't read in quite a few years. And it's still just as good. It's still just as compelling. On my trip that I'm going, I plan on finishing it and getting all caught up. And it is, don't read too much into it. Just grab it and start reading. I don't think you'll be disappointed if you like a mature stories in your comics. And you know what? If you don't like mature stories in your comics, the other option is Scott Pilgrim, which I had to love. Like it's based in Canada. Like I remember reading it and watching the movie when it first came out. That delivery from Amazon, it's funny how they have it in the movie versus how it is in the comics, where he's literally waiting for a book from Amazon. You remember when Amazon used to just sell books and that's all they did? You could only buy books from them. But I put specifically the colorized version because it just adds a layer of depth to the story. And I think in a lot of other mediums, like I love the Scott Pilgrim movie. I like the Scott Pilgrim animated. They did like an anime version on Netflix and it's fine. The movie is good. I like the movie more than I like the animated series. But as much as I love Michael Cera, he makes Scott out as just a complete and utter jerk. Somebody that is not worth any time. Why anyone would want to date him, I still don't understand. And I love Michael Cera.
He's such a nerd in the movie.
He's a nerd, and he's just like, he is such a selfish douchebag.
He is. He's very standoffish. And like the movie I remember watching and thinking to myself, this is a who's who of superhero films. Like you had Brandon, was it Brandon Routh was in it that played
Brandon
Superman?
Routh was in it.
Chris Evans, who played Captain America, and at that time, the Human Torch around that time was closer than that. But yeah, it's literally like it was a who's who. The funny thing is, I never really knew anything about this book until I watched the film. I didn't know about the book. I had never seen it. And then all of a sudden when I saw the film, I'm like, yeah, I have to go check these out. And these type of books you were able to get in bookstores and stuff like that too back in the day. Like Walden Books and stuff had them because they were smaller and they would sit on the shelves easier. But this kind of took me back to one of the first things that got me into reading comic books and stuff like that was obviously Sunday morning strips in the newspaper. Your parents would get the newspaper and you'd read the Sunday morning cartoons, or my grandfather called them the funnies. You're reading the funnies. And so that's kind of what, and then I started reading when Garfield first was printed. I started collecting Garfield books when I was probably about maybe 9 years old or so. And I was reading those, but these are similar to also even the anime kind of little smaller graphic novels that you could buy because they were written like that. But yeah, I knew nothing about this character until I watched the movie. And then I went back and I realized, holy cow, like they have a lot of books for this series, a lot. So
and it's an easy read. The Scott in the books is a very deep character, and he's still a selfish jerk. Yeah. But there's just something. It's just different. It's just different. If you've never read them and you liked the movie but could not stand Scott, or even if you did like Scott, read the books. They're even better. They're so fun. The art is phenomenal, and there are little in-jokes with it being a new version as well. So, the author behind it has taken that time to build something else rather than just taking them, adding color, and pushing them out. By the way, a fun little bit of trivia thinking about the Scott Pilgrim movie. You said it was a superhero one. There's also a super villain in there. I don't know if you remember, but Jason Schwartzman is Spot from the Spider-Verse series.
Right, yes. Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh my God, he's so good. Like he's just he chews up every scene that he's in every single show.
And this is one of the reasons why I love talking about this and talking about comics in general, because this is what we're going to do on this show. We're going to give you guys recommendations, things to go and read, because, it's kind of cool to read about these characters that we're seeing in Snap every day. And also just about all the other stuff and all how everything else came from. You mentioned Walking Dead. You even mentioned Star Trek. There were Star Trek comics back in like a brand was called Key. And they used to come out in Key Comics back in the day. And then even when the motion picture came out and stuff like that, which I'm a big Trekkie too. Yeah. I had to ask you, and I meant to ask you before.
Yes.
Strange New Worlds. Are you watching it?
I'm not. I have slacked on all of
it. Oh, you need to watch that. honest, oh my God, the last season of Picard was nothing but an 8-episode tribute to the entire thing of Next Gen, which was phenomenal. And then Strange New Worlds, though, is as close as you can come to a remake of the original Star Trek series that was on in the 60s. Okay. It is amazing. And you're even seeing origin stories of Scotty, of Uhura, of all these younger characters that are on that. It's an amazing show. If you're a Trekkie, you know that Chris Pike was the captain before Kirk took over, and this is the exploits of Christopher Pike. So I'm a big I mean, Wrath of Khan blew my mind when I saw that in the theaters back in the day, and is still to this day one of my favorite movies I've ever seen. Really, I can watch it whenever it comes on.
It's funny. I am an OG Star Trek movie lover. I'm not a huge, the series is fine, but it's a little corny, just a little. When it was made, of course it's corny. But for the Next Generation, give me the series. I will rewatch that series over and over and over again. I remember as a kid, checked it out from the library, the Star Trek encyclopedia that had, you know, the internals of the NC 1701, everything about it. I was such a nerd. I had an episode guide, and I'd watch the episode and I'd go and I'd read about the episodes and, find out more about Data. And I had a friend who, he was a huge Star Trek fan, but hated one part of it. And he always would complain about the psychobabble of all the characters. He hated Beverly Crusher. He hated her because he was like, oh, she yappers on about all this other stuff. I want to see the cool things. So I'm like, what if we just like it all? Can we just like it all? That's my opinion.
I met Marina Sirtis at a convention.
I had as a Greek person, I had a bit of a crush on her growing up too.
I mean, between her and Beverly, they were, and I married a redhead, so I was always kind of, but I mean, she was very, very sweet. And she signed a postcard. It's funny because I went with a couple of friends. My one friend name is Michelle that went in, and she cannot stand her. She used to say, she used to call her Counselor Cleavage. And I'm like, and I mean, when you listen to her story and she talks about it, she's like, one of the reasons why she wanted to leave the series was because they kept making her show more and more of and making her wear these really, really tight outfits. And she was like, I don't want to do this. But she was very, very sweet. She signed a picture, and her and I talked about Next Gen for 15 minutes. Nice. So it was really cool. But yeah, man, I am with you there. I love Star Trek and Star Wars. I know people battle over those where no, you can't like Star Trek if you're a Star Wars fan. I like it all.
No sense. It's the dumbest thing. It's just, you can't stupid. Like one thing because you like this other thing. There doesn't need to be a rivalry.
It's one of those dumb Twitter discussions that people have. It's like, I like it all. I can watch sci-fi all day and all night. If I see something good, like Firefly, when Firefly came on, I loved it, man. One of the best TV shows I've ever seen. And then when they came out with the movie for that, I can watch just about any kind of, whether it's a comic book film, whether it's a sci-fi film, fantasy films as well. I'm all in. I could watch any of them. So
agreed. I am 100% on board, and I wish I could have gotten my kids into Star Trek. I remember we tried with the Next Generation, and they were just like, yeah, no, how about we just don't? How about we just... We thought we had them into Star Wars, and they liked the first movie, but then they were just like, how about I'm just done with this? And it's just like...
My oldest got into it. She loves it all. The superheroes, the comics. She even has a huge full sleeve Star Wars tattoo that she got done, which is nice. Amazing. My youngest now, not so much. She doesn't like the sci-fi stuff so much, but she does like the superhero films. So kind of got some from both of them there. But Next Gen is funny you mentioned, because I never got into Next Gen right off the bat. When I was watching it, I grew up on the original, so I was ready to kind of get something a little corny and funny like that. But it really wasn't. And Picard, to me, especially in the first season, if you go back and watch it, was very dry, very stoic and very dry. And it took me a while, but then once they got into it, and I think what really got me going was the Borg episodes. Holy, that cliffhanger from the Borg is one of the best cliffhangers I think I've ever seen. But yeah, sum it all up. Check it out, guys. Read the
Yep.
books. That's what they're going to be here for. We're going to do this every single week on this show, and go out and check them out. If you don't know some of the backgrounds of where these characters come from, as I say on my show all the time, go read them because they're out there. And listen, all these years later, I'm a 55-year-old man and I'm still reading comic books.
Yep.
So, and I doubt
there's
I'll ever
no
stop.
age limit. Absolutely no age limit.
Yep.
We're gonna be the weirdos in the old folks' home that are reading comics, that are reading old trade
Yep.
paperbacks.
Yep.
No
No doubt.
The hell not. And,
No
and
doubt.
everything, all of these things will link down below. I'll link. I'll try and link some local comic book stores.
Nice.
That do some online shipping. So if you're not local and you can't find one nearby, you can order one from a local comic book store. I know there's a couple
I'll shout out one that's close to me. If any of you are in the northeast sector of Pennsylvania, it's called Comics on the Green. They're up in Scranton, PA. And he's been there. I know him really well. The owner of the place, I know him pretty well, and I went up there a lot when I used to work up there, but now I'm an hour away. I don't get up there as much, but he's great. Has a lot of really old books, like books that you only dream of seeing sometimes, like the X-Men comics from back in the day, and a lot of stuff like up on the wall. And he'll start a subscription for you if you want to go there. You want to get comics and stuff like that every week put to the side for you. He'll do that. You just have to give him a pull list of what you want and stuff like that. But yeah, it's great. He does the action figures and all that kind of stuff too. So it's a great place. Yep.
And I'll give a little shout out to local one that I've heard. I don't know if this is true. I've tried to find out and I can't be sure. There's a comic store in Vancouver called Golden Age, and it is one of the oldest comic book stores. The person that used to run it was a bit of a crotchety, heavier set gentleman. And there was a rumor that the comic book guy from The Simpsons is based off of him.
Oh, God.
Now, I have not gone into Golden Age in a while because, again, it's the same kind of thing. It's an hour away from me. I don't often go into the city. I used to work in the city. I don't work in the city now.
Yeah.
But if you are up here, I mean, you got to go downtown Vancouver anyway. Just check it out. But the other suggestion is a shop called Toy Traders, just nearby me, that I go to quite regularly, that I could not recommend more highly. Some of the nicest staff and the most unique collection of items that you could possibly find. Collectibles out the wazoo. One of these days that maybe I need to add in a little video of going through Toy Traders. But if you ever make it up here, 100%. Toy Traders is where to go.
Nice. That's awesome. I'll shout out another thing real quick. There is if you're on Facebook, and I know not a lot of people are anymore, but if you happen to be, and you like this kind of stuff, the Consortium for the Greater Geek is a Facebook group I formed about maybe 9 years ago or so. It's an awesome little group. We discuss all of this kind of thing, and they there's people that put up posts about movies, things that they do. We're supposedly maybe even doing a panel at one of the upcoming local conventions. So if you're still on Facebook, check it out. It's fun. It's been there forever. Myself and a bunch of friends started it, and it's just a cool place to go where nobody's not going to like anything or argue with you, because I see to it that's the case. I'm the moderator of the group, so if someone does, it's like bye. Yeah.
And again, we're going to have all of those links down below, so feel free to take a look. And if we don't, yell at us and we'll put them in there. Now we're going to move on to talk about this week's releases. There are quite a few things coming out. Some things that I'm excited for, some things that I'm a little less excited for, but we'll start with the card of the week in Toxin. Toxin is a 2/1 on reveal. Return your other cards here to your hand, +2 power for each return. He doesn't have the cost reduction of Beast, but what are your thoughts? We haven't really talked about archetypes, but Bounce is a very specific archetype that I see him in Bounce. I see him in Destroy as the main archetypes as to where he fits.
I hope it doesn't get into Clog, because I'm a little afraid of that, especially with all the Clog cards that will do that. I don't. Yeah, this card it's polarizing for me because I hate Bounce. I hate it. I don't like it. There's two. I don't like Move and I don't like Bounce. They're the two decks that I usually will not play. You and I talked about this before. They hurt my head. I don't like it. They make my brain hurt trying to decide what I got to bounce back, what I got to put back down, what I got to. And I know that this is going to, I am so glad I hit infinite, because if I would have had to hit infinite through a bounce meta, oh my God, I would have been blown. Yeah, it's, I, I'm not a fan. I know Glazer loves it. There are people out there who cannot wait for this. Lambie loves bounce. I know a lot of people love it, but I'm not that guy. And the thing I think with this is, yes, I agree with you 100%. It is going to be a better beast. And I think people are going to probably find a way to use this and beast in the deck.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
And like, bounce is just extremely hard to deal with. That's the problem. You many times they will allow you to have priority, because then that last turn, there's nothing you can do. And unless you start that whole goofy trick with Invisible Woman and hiding your Killmonger until the very end of the thing, or hiding a Shadow King, you're going to lose. And so I just never like this type of deck. I know there are people out there. There was that whole month that we had when Lambie was winning tournaments with bounce, and that lasted for way too long, in my opinion, until they started nerfing things. I think they nerfed Hitmonkey, and they nerfed a couple other cards back then. But yeah, this card scares me because I may be playing a lot of Conquest when Toxin comes out tomorrow.
Understandable. And that sometimes that is how you have to just get through that, because that first week everybody's going to be throwing down the card, and it's going to be nonstop. Just all you're going to see is Toxin mirrors out there.
Yeah,
so
it becomes a beat 'em, join 'em. Yeah, it's either you find a way to beat them, or you make a Toxin deck. It's one or the other. Now I'll get the card and I'll probably mess around with it. I don't know. Maybe if I played it a little more, I'd get better at it. It's possible, but it's just there. Like I said, those two things, move was like a chore to me when I had to do the missions with the move cards. And this is going to be the same thing. I know they're going to have missions that are going to be dedicated to Toxin too. So I know, though, that there's a lot of people looking forward to it. I think I did rank this as my #1 card of the month.
Yeah, because I think it's going to be very powerful.
It is going to be that good. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
I want to see what cooks people come up with. Like we've talked about before, neither of us are the greatest deck builders. Like it's just not in my brain. Yeah. But hey, maybe there's somewhere this could work in discard. Probably not, because discard's such a tight package, and Scorn has already kind of changed what discard is meant to be. Because I don't think you can have discard without Scorn in it now. Like, Scorn is just part of the DNA of discard, depending on what you're going for. But
I could see maybe like Phoenix Force deck to save like the big Human Torch if you're using that.
Yeah.
And bring it back down, like, to anything you can move cards away from people that you're afraid of getting shanged or Shadow King or something like that. Maybe it finds a way into something like that. Phoenix Force is getting popular now again, and there's weird versions of it out there too. So maybe something like that. But bounce can be done in so many different ways now. Like, now you have the Agent Venom deck that's out there using bounce. Like I said, anytime you just don't want people to hit your big cards, and even if you're just bouncing a hood back and forth, you're getting a 1/6, a 1/6, a 1/6, every time, it's going to win you a lot of games. And so, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what people come up with. But I know that a lot of people are probably just going to take this and throw it into that standard Agent Venom list that's out there now, and just continue to play with that, because it is already pretty good.
And it's just going to get better. But let's see how it goes. Speaking of, Gregor had a very interesting, it wasn't an Agent Venom deck, but it was miserable to play against. Like, I just watched people just leaving. It was a misery deck with armor in it, and Darkhawk and Blade. Was doubling up everything. He had armor with misery in there, and Phoenix Force inside that deck as well. So you toss your Cassandra Nova down, you kill it with misery, and then you toss Phoenix Force down, and oh look, Cassandra Nova again, +5 power, plus however many cards they have left in their deck. And if you've hit them with Black Widow and Korg and Rock Slide, then that's all of the damn cards. Like, it's super toxic. I've never seen so many people retreating in a game. So
people are playing with armor and Black and White Widow too, because now that the White Widow thing won't explode. So Yep, that's what I'm a little nervous about. It's
Ditto.
gonna be.
It's when I was on Snap Judgments last week, and I mentioned, what about White Widow and armor, and Glazer's was like, nah, 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 nah. And I'm like, maybe. Yeah, it is a nasty list, and I
Yeah.
cannot see this making it any less nasty, because this just gives you another way of clogging them, messing with their deck, just ruining their day.
Yep. Yep.
Uh,
100%. It's definitely going to be popular, and I know a lot of people are going to get it. So, yep.
yep, we'll have to see. So what we've got next is the upcoming Spotlight caches, which I am less than enthused about, if I'm being
It's not
completely
good.
honest.
It's the worst one of the month. And
Yep.
ironically, they put it in with the card that everybody's going to want.
As they are wont
So
to do. They always do this. They
they
always
do.
take the
Yep.
most anticipated card and go, what crap can we stick around it that
Yep.
no one else is going to want? Like, I like Sean Galloway. I think he's a good artist. I'm not a big
Mhm.
fan of this Zabu. Plus, I've already got a ton of really
I
good
do.
Zabus out there.
Me too. Yeah, me too.
And
And
same with
Elsa.
Elsa. Like,
Yeah.
I've got much better Elsas. This one's fine, but it's nothing that
Yeah.
screams to me. So
Yeah.
there is a variant that we'll talk about, a little toxic one that's coming out that, let's be honest, it is probably just a better buy. Like,
Yeah.
if you don't have Zabu, I still, I've seen a lot of people talk about this. I don't think Zabu's in his final form. I don't think he's good enough
Mhm.
to write home about and put in a lot of decks. I think he's got some interesting use cases, but it's nothing that's like, yeah, this is where he fits. This is his final form. So I'm
Yep.
really hopeful that they decide to continue changing him. And Elsa, I want her to be good again. My second infinite, no, my third infinite was with her. The first was with at the end of the Dawkins season. Then the second was Loki, and then the third was her. She was busted when she first came out. Like,
Oh,
same
the
with
Angela
Loki.
Kitty
Uh-huh.
combos.
Oh,
Yeah,
it
they
was
were
so nice.
ridiculous.
But it
Yeah.
was so nice to throw down something like a Mysterio and see each one of them get a huge buff. It produced some of the most fun games that I've had, probably very one-sided because no one else enjoyed it. And it was okay, who gets their Elsa first? Did you pull your Elsa this game? If not, well, you might as well just retreat because you're not going to win. And I don't think that is a healthy place for the game to be in. But at the same time, do you ever see Elsa anymore? I don't know the last time I
No,
saw an
not at
Elsa.
all.
No, like, no.
Yeah. Yeah, not at all. Yeah, no, I unfortunately I am going to open for it because I don't have enough tokens to buy the card this week. I actually did that last week because I wanted to save caches, but I guarantee you, I'm gonna be visiting the Four Keys this week. I guarantee you I will, because that's just how it goes.
How many keys do you have right now, Joe?
I think I have 7.
Ooh, that's a
it
hard
might,
number because that's not a. I mean, you'll get 8 by the end of this week, but still,
Yeah,
you're
I'll
just like,
I'll get the 4 back, but it's like I know whenever I look at the no, I have 8. I'm sorry, I have 8 keys.
okay,
So I can blow them and it won't be the worst thing ever, but like I know that I'm gonna get, and you're right. I don't like either of these variants really. Not that I hate them. The artists
yeah,
all do work in their own way,
yeah,
but I don't need them. I won't use them. I mean, I was
yeah,
using the Zabu for a little while in TLSG's Galactus deck, but that kind of went by the wayside.
yeah,
But this is definitely not one to go after unless you need Zabu,
yep.
because he's really the only card in here right now that's seeing any play.
And
So,
he's a series 4, so he's not still.
but yeah, she should be a Series 4 card,
100% agree, Joe. There,
especially now. I mean,
yeah, she's still a series 5. You've got
yeah, see, and that's crazy to me because that's where we go back to what we were talking about earlier. This is a card that maybe people that are playing in the lower levels might want to use. This is something that they can use with a Kitty and an Angela or something like that and just get that combo going a little bit better because it's not competitive in the meta that we're in, but maybe for them it would be. So that's a criteria for a card that would make that cut, I think, to me. but that's a whole nother story for a whole nother podcast.
That's also a really good point. Like that's something that I don't think about a ton. Like I think about it from my perspective going, this is a crappy week with crappy cards and variants that I have better versions of. You know, I won't say they're crap. Like you said, they're not crappy variants, but they're not my style. They're not stuff that like screams to me. But for someone who is newer, like this could be a really good week for them. Tuxing is a really interesting bounce card. And, you know, maybe there's some buffs that they're going to do with Elsa. Maybe they will change her, but I don't know what they could do. I honestly don't know how they could.
I don't think they want to see that deck come back. It doesn't seem like they want that back. Either. And I don't, I think they went a little crazy with those. That was the Man Thing set too that she came out in. That was the Halloween cards that they had last year. So yeah, it's a shame, but you know, we'll see. What I would say, I usually always recommend, you know, if people are listening, I would say don't, unless you really, really want Zabu and Elsa, with any really new card, it's always a good piece of advice to wait and see how they play out. Wait a couple days, wait till like Friday or Saturday, see how they play out, see the creators using them like yourself, see how they play out in the meta. And if they're not playing out exactly like you want them to, and the other thing is, if you're not a fan of bounce, and I think really with this month, if you're not a fan of certain types of decks, so if you're not a fan of bounce, last week, if you're not a fan of discard, you could probably skip a lot of these weeks if you don't care about being collection complete. And so I guess in a way that's kind of nice, because you don't necessarily need to get these weeks. If you know, well, I don't play bounce, well, then it's an easy skip. It's not the best spotlight caches, but when I saw this at the beginning, I'm like, oh, second dinner, you guys are so bad.
Now we've got some variants that we're going to talk about. So we will discuss our variants. So we've got some interesting ones coming up here, actually. So this one, I don't know if you've seen anything about this. When I was looking on Snap.fan for some information, this
data mine ones, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a cool.
But it's supposed to have come out 3 days ago. There's no information at all on it.
She is in a bundle, if I'm not 100% mistaken. Let me look. I actually may, because I was going to talk about some.
The source here is showing that she's a promo.
Ooh, okay.
So I don't know what.
I thought I saw an Ironheart bundle, but I could be wrong.
There wasn't. I think there was an Ironheart bundle, wasn't there?
I thought so, but no, I'm not. There's a Thanos bundle coming up. But no, there isn't. I thought I did see an Ironheart bundle, but you know what? I need a new Ironheart variant too, because my Ironheart variants are pretty bad. So this is a cool one.
What, you don't like your Ironheart pixel?
Oh God, that's it. There aren't many pixels I do like. The Ghost Rider one's my favorite one.
Come on, that's beautiful there. How can you not like this one?
Pixel cards and I don't have we don't have a good relationship. Pixels and I like a few. Jubilee might be my favorite one.
Yes, Jubilee is very good. This is not one of them. It's funny. No. This is one of the last. When I was getting collection variant 700 gold variant complete, this is one of the last ones that I got. But you and I both started early on. We got the avatar for this one very early, like in one of their silly little events. Oh my Lord. Like the fact that I finally have the terrible pixel to go along with that is definitely something.
I mean, look at the face. It looks like the face of a fly. Like when you see like the lips coming down.
100%. You are 100% correct.
It's so funny because she looks like
Jeff Goldblum's going to sue. He's going to be like, hey, wait a second.
There's some of them that are like, some of them are made by, I think, different studios. I think Lauren told me that. There's two different studios, I think, that make the pixels. Some of them that make them that look.
There's two studios that make the chibis. Almost, I think every single one of the pixels are all G angle.
The pixels, though, some of them really look good. They look like old 16-bit video games.
I agree.
And that's what Jubilee looks like. She looks like she's in like an old Final Fantasy game from from back in the day. But some of them just look so bad. And I'm sorry. I know I'm going to hurt people's feelings with this, but Hellcow is awful. Awful. And I
I
don't care
don't know
what you
what
tell
you're
me. And it's,
talking
oh,
about.
it's
She
so
is
good. No,
beautiful.
it's
That
not.
is,
It's so bad.
it's as good as
It's,
this one and
it looks
Taco
like
Bell
she's in it.
Modoc.
Hell
Come on.
Cow looks like she's
Oh,
in
hold on. There
a,
we go.
she looks like she's posing in like a Playboy magazine for cows and just
But
letting it all hang out. Like, come
look at
on,
this
man. Like,
MS
there's,
Paint, the MS
there's,
Paint barn behind her. Those udders are just,
oh,
and she's,
it's so bad.
I love the
This is,
fact, I just realized this. I've never noticed this about this card, but she has certain like she's got boobs and
that's what I mean. Like she looks like she's
that
posing
is
for a centerfold in cow play or whatever you want to call it, or play cow. I don't know.
yeah.
Like it's so, people try to tell me this is their favorite pixel. I'm like, what are you looking at? Like,
Well,
what do you do? I don't know.
This is the kind of thing that it's favorite because it's so horrific. It is,
and I
just
guess,
horrific.
yeah, it's just like she's flashing so much. And
Yep.
look, she even has like the cape on, so it almost looks like one of like an old style '70s flasher, where you'd see them hold the black jacket up, and then all of a sudden, whoop, they open the
Yep.
jacket and they flash it with the jacket. Yeah, like I don't know, man.
I'm pretty positive all of the pixels are basically they're copies of official comic book covers or comic book art. And
Holy,
they just
if that's a copy of comic book art, I'd love to see where that comic book is, because man, like I can't.
Just so you can buy a copy and burn it.
I might buy a copy of that comic book if there is ever. Yeah, if I find out there's a comic book with that cover, I will literally buy. Oh wait, hold on.
Oh no, did you find it? Did you find it?
Well, I found a Deadpool that came kind of close.
It's perfect. Oh,
I didn't find the cover, but that's from a Deadpool
I'll
book.
take it.
I mean,
I wonder if that is where it is from.
I maybe like there's no pose exactly like that, but that's the closest one I came to,
That's
and that's
pretty
with,
close. That is pretty close.
It is like oh my god, I can't. Yeah, I just can't. Like it's just all on display there.
Now,
but,
if you're gonna have
yeah.
to rock a pixel and your discard player, I don't think you can go wrong with the Pixel Gambit.
Yeah,
I think
he's
this
okay.
He's
okay.
It's really, hold on. We'll do this because I've got the credits for it, but he looks really good once he's animated, and I think that's how it works with a lot of these. Is they look so much better once they're animated,
dude.
So there you go.
Okay, I went. Let me see if I can find this quick. I went and even used a I used one of the higher end borders on a pixel, which I never thought I would ever do, but it is so here. Look at this.
Oh, nice. That is really good.
I mean, really, like really that pixel is fire and animated and stuff. Holy, like the Ghost Rider is one of the coolest ones there is. And like no, here I think that's it actually. No,
that is really good
with the flame border.
Yep.
Yeah, it's sick, man. The Ghost Rider pixel is just absolutely amazing. So there are some that are amazing, but some of them just don't cut it.
It seems like the newer ones are better. The newer ones, they have made some major improvements on how they look. But you know what? We are not here.
We got off on a pixel tangent. Yes.
Let me get rid of the pixels so that we don't have to force ourselves to see it again.
But back to Ironheart. This Ironheart's pretty cool.
Yes.
I will have to see how much it's going to be and how much it's going to cost. If it's not too much, I might get it because it's a pretty cool Ironheart.
So that is an unknown date one. But what we have here is we've got, now this is going to be coming out because both Joe and I have crazy schedules and lives. These are out today, but you've got the Maria Wolf Black Knight, the Mealtime Venom, which hold on, I got to pull up that Venom.
It reminded me of Judge Dredd art. In fact, his face kind of actually looked like it a little bit. Like I when I first looked at it, I'm like, wow, that's it's really cool.
But yeah, look at this. Like animated, her stuff is so good animated.
Yeah.
It is mind blowing because
like
of her line work.
His face with the helmet on and everything like that. And yeah, look at the sword. Oh my gosh, that's sick.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, now
I want to hear him say, "I am the law."
Yeah, I am the law. Yeah, like Sylvester Stallone.
Yep. You know what? for the content. I was going to buy it anyway, if I'm being honest.
Oh, look at that. There it goes.
There we go.
Yeah.
But
he's
if
amazing.
You can, get this mealtime Venom, people. Like,
yes.
do whatever you can. Just get
just
enough
the fact,
to get that.
But here's the thing with this. They're coming out with a bunch of mealtime other cards that are coming up for Thanksgiving. So if they're all going to move like that with their hands, oh my God, people are going to be buying variants like crazy. Yeah. Because they're coming out with a whole bunch that are sitting in front of food, and his hands go up and down. That's fantastic. I was so shocked to see that, and I wasn't going to get it. But when I was on Twitter earlier, and I saw a few people had it, and I saw his hands moving. I'm like, oh my God, I have to get it.
Yeah. Yep. Well, that's the nice thing about this is you probably got it because you have most of his rare variants. So if you weren't already there, you were really close to it. So it's for us, it's not a ton of work. Like
the album came out today, in fact, and I filled the album right off the bat.
Yep. Yeah. I opened up the album and it just went like, burned. Same with the Carnage. Like I had the same thing with Carnage.
And I didn't even have all of his regular ones, but I had all the bonus variants that you needed to get too. I don't have the one with the wrestling belt. I never got that one.
Yeah.
I never got the Kim Jacinto Venom. I never got the Peach Momoko Venom. And I never got this. Well, that one is the new one. Of course, the one on the right up there is the new one that you need for the, but I got it right off the bat. The same with Carnage. So, but yeah, that's a cool, and then the brains on the bib. I mean, come on.
Yep. it's perfect. If you're going to do a Venom, that's the way to do it.
Yeah, it's really cool.
So yeah, you probably already, if you're watching this and you wanted them, you probably already have them. Yeah. What is coming up on the 23rd? So on Wednesday we have it's tough for this one because this isn't technically it is a variant that's releasing that day, but it is a bundle, and we're going to talk about the bundle and the value and all that stuff later on. But I've got the toy pool or the Toon Pool bundle that's coming up. That one comes
that's
out tomorrow.
The anniversary bundle. Yeah, that's a good one actually. I think I went over that on my show. It's only $10. Yep. And it's actually pretty good value. So yeah, if I were gonna get a bundle, I would probably shoot for that one because it's a pretty good one. You get a decent amount of gold and stuff with it too.
Yep.
So
it is a reasonable priced bundle, and those don't come in all that often.
Gold is a premium, guys. So just be aware of that. Look for good values on gold because it is not easy to get anymore.
I'm going to break from our mode to go over the second anniversary Toon Pool bundle because you get the matte red border, 500 credits, and 1,200 gold for $10. Like the numbers are real good on that one.
Yep.
It would be nice if they gave us something more for free, but I'll take $10.
Yeah, $10 isn't bad. No, especially for the amount of gold you're getting with it. Yeah, for sure.
Agreed. But we will go back to what is coming out on the 23rd, and that is the Wolverine Nullified. We'll talk about the bundle value. It's an okay variant. It's not something that I'm
not
about.
Me neither. I'm not really interested. I have so many cool Wolverine variants already anyway. Yep. And the Nullified and Venomized stuff aren't my necessary favorite things. Some of them are really cool, but like obviously the Galactus one I'm getting, which we're going to talk about in a minute. But yeah, this one doesn't really thrill me.
No. On 10/24, what I will say, the Taskmaster is cool. The Taskmaster is cool. I will give it that.
Again, a card that's never played anymore. That Taskmaster's days came and gone with the Shuri decks, and Maximus was played in Gunny T's Big Dumb Idiots, and that's gone by the wayside. Black Knight is, Black Knight. I've been playing a lot of Black Knight actually these last 2 months. I got the Infinite with a deck that had him in it. MODOK is obviously a necessity for a discard deck. You have to have him. And Stature, Black Bolt Stature, not very much played either.
The only problem is you don't actually, if you don't have the cards, you can't get these because these are the Spotlight variants that came out.
They are.
So if you don't have the OG cards, you don't get to spend the money on. And if I'm going to be completely honest, I don't think any of these cards are like any of these variants are worth it. I don't think that's the best MODOK. I don't think that's
the
best,
I agree.
Like that is far from the best Stature and far like we know what the best we know what the best Black Knight is, and it is not the fantasy one.
I agree. Yeah, neither of those are the greatest. The Stature is a weird one.
Yeah,
so
it's just It's just a weird pose. I'm not a huge fan
Yeah.
of the steampunk stature as much as I'd like to. What I will say about
Yep.
Taskmaster, though, if you've got Taskmaster and you want a good variant and you want to try running her, I'm telling you, negative Taskmaster is real strong with Sage. The list that Super Tech God
Yeah.
and Pawnee have been running for the last little bit, they're still strong decks because people aren't expecting them and no one's running Mobius.
Yeah.
You've
Good
got the
point.
Maximus that's a bundle, the 3 variants that are 2,400 gold. If you have the original cards, and the Taskmaster that's a rare, which I'm thrilled about because that means we're going to get that one for free. Even if we don't use it, it is $0. So
Yep.
I'll take it.
Yep.
And then after that, we've got the War Machine variant that is also a rare, and that comes out on the 27th. So the War Machine, I'm all on board. It's a rare. That means it's either going to be 700 gold, or for people like you and I, it's going to be $0, and we can save our
Caches.
mystery. Yeah, our mystery variants for that. What I find though, I save my mystery variants for that. But the caches, you don't get the 200 gold. If you open what's going to be a 700 gold variant, you get your avatars there.
Avatar, yeah, that's true.
I forget. I know Chase, who is variant complete, I think, or close to it, and avatar complete as well. I don't think the results are great opening the regular caches. I'm not exactly sure what you get, but maybe we'll figure that out and talk about that next week. But we've got War Machine, who's a rare, and then we've got what I think is a decent. I'm not a huge fan of the Pandart stuff. Like,
Pandart
is
can
far
be up
from,
and down. Yeah.
Pandart is far from my favorite style, but this Mary is pretty good. And, there's not been a ton of really great Typhoid Mary variants. Not that anybody
That's
plays
true,
her
yeah.
anymore. But this one's good. It's an interesting angle. It's definitely better than a lot of the other Pandarts, in my opinion.
I need to see some art for her from the arc where she was married to Kingpin.
That sounds like an interesting arc.
Yeah, there's a story arc, a little more recent, maybe in the last 2-3 years, where she married Kingpin. She was also that was also in the Daredevil series too. The second season, Typhoid Mary was in, and she was kind of hanging with Kingpin. Which, by the way.
Yeah, I'm interested in seeing what's going to happen with that show, because that's slated to come out soon.
They leaked the trailer on Comic-Con, and someone recorded it. I saw it. I watched it on YouTube. Wow, it's going to be phenomenal. Mature audiences only. It's going to be. It looks fantastic, and yeah, I mean, Punisher's in it. Yeah. Foggy's in it. Everybody's in it from the other ones. The White Tiger is in it.
The White Tiger is a character I know literally nothing about. I don't ever remember seeing her in the comics.
Yeah, she's actually. I think I'm not sure she is a her in the Daredevil series. I think they made a male.
Okay,
but she's been different people over the years, I believe. But yeah, it looks amazing. Kingpin figures out, I guess, Daredevil's Matt Murdock. It looks really, really, really good. And I think D'Onofrio, the actor who plays Kingpin, came out and said that if people like the last ones on Netflix, he said there is more violence and gore in these, and so you're going to like these even better. Which is crazy, because a lot of people thought maybe Disney would tone it down, but obviously not.
So maybe we'll see Typhoid Mary back in there, but I'm up for more Charlie Cox Daredevil. Give me that any day.
Yeah, me too. I think it's next spring or summer.
Okay, and then we are going to move on to our bundles this week. So for bundles, this is the one that I was talking about.
The War Machine one.
The Iron Man one.
So Iron Man.
It's another Kale. There's no information on it. It's just web shop conversion 01. It's supposed to be live now, but it also says that it ends in December. So I don't know if that's just a mistake on their end, but if it comes out, it seems interesting. But the last Kale Iron Man was the super whale on the rewards track. Yeah.
this doesn't look like it should be that because it only has credits in
Yeah.
it. But yeah, you never know. I'm guessing.
absolutely.
If I had a guess on this, I'd say 25 or a little more maybe.
Yep. Who knows? We will see. But then
Mhm.
we've got coming out on the 26th is the Maximus bundle
Yep.
with you've got the 1500 credits, 700 gold. I mean, it's decent. The currency value is okay. The bundle value is fine, but no one's playing Maximus. Like
No,
I
it's
don't get I get they
yeah.
don't want to release, bundles that have the series 5 cards in them, but find a series 3 or series 2 or series 1 card that's like put your Iron Mans in bundles like this. Put Zola, put
Un
stuff like
yeah.
that in bundles like
Un
this.
Unless they are planning to do something with Maximus on the OTA changes coming up this week,
Who
which
knows?
may explain something because they know what they're doing.
Yep, this
So
is true. He could come back. Maybe Ronan will
yep,
make a resurgence. I would be
yep,
in for a Ronan resurgence. That
yeah,
would be interesting to see. But
yep.
it's a decent value. You get a decent amount of credits. You get a pittance of gold that like you talked about. I would be nice to see this as 1,000 gold rather
Should
than
be
700
1K.
gold.
This is
Agreed.
yeah, this is where I noticed where you're seeing the
Yep.
decline. You're starting to see bundles that used to cost this that are giving just less gold. And
Yep.
someone told me, I think I mentioned it might have been Lauren that told me that someone from Second Dinner said that they feel there's too much gold in the game, which kind of stunned me. I
Yeah.
don't really understand that, but
Because where are
I
you
don't
getting
know.
the
Whatever.
only place you're getting gold? You're not getting it from the Conquest shop anymore. That they've
Right.
taken that away. You're
They've
not
taken
getting
it.
it.
Yep.
You're not getting it in the collection track. The only way
Yep.
you can get it is if you get past 50 on the season pass, like the season
Right.
caches. That's the only place that you get gold, and that's the only time that I get gold. It's one of the reasons why I try and get as high as I can there,
Yep.
because you get your 50 and 100 gold. Now there's
Yep.
no other way to get it unless you spend cash or have the season pass, like pay for the season pass. So it's free to play. The only way you can get that is getting past level 50 of the season pass. And that's hard to
Yep.
do when you're not spending money too.
It is.
It,
Yep.
it sucks,
Yep.
but
Yep.
they do have a inexpensive premium mystery variant bundle. This is decent. It's not as good as the year 2 bundle, but it's for $10. You get 1,200 credits and a premium mystery variant. I won't buy it because I know I'm just going to get an avatar out of the
Me
premium
too.
mystery variant
Yeah.
in my
That's
luck.
yeah. Yep.
But the 1,200 credits for $10 is fine. Like it's nothing exciting, but I guess it's better than I did not. I just want to make it clear. I did not put the Token Tuesday bundles in here because the one that's coming out on the
Oh
24th is
yeah.
bad. Like
Yeah.
it is real
Agreed.
bad. So no, that one.
Agreed.
Speaking of the Wolverine bundle, this one is also like it's a gold bundle. They seem
It's
intent
it,
on gold bundles to make them as worthless as possible. Like
yeah. This is not. I think I reviewed this one and I said the only reason you would ever want this is if you wanted the collector tokens,
yeah,
and it's not even at this. It's not even to me. I don't think it's worth it for that. That's especially if you're hearing that gold is going to be at a premium and it's going to be harder and harder to come by. There is no way that you blow 3,500 on this. No way. No
especially
way.
if you're not a variant person like us. Like I would much rather save that up and spend that on, like I don't have the Jacinto Apocalypse, so
Right.
I would love that. And I'm still mad I don't have the David Mack Daredevil. Even though we don't
Yep.
use Daredevil anymore, I've
Yep.
met David Mack. I've got signed work from him. He is
That's
one of the
cool.
best artists out there. I did not realize it was David Mack when it came out, stupidly. But that's one that I have regrets for doing. But if you don't absolutely need it and don't have an abundance of gold, don't waste it on this. There's other
No.
ways to get
Yeah.
collector's tokens.
Yeah.
I
It's
know
it's cool. It looks
it
almost like a
is.
cartoon.
It does,
It's really neat.
and it looks
Yeah.
so
That's one of the
cinematic.
first ones I got. I
Yep,
think.
it was one of the first
Yeah.
bundles. That and
That's
the
yeah.
Sunspot and the Hot Tub were like the
Oh,
first bundles that came out there. They were gold
and
bundles.
what was the other one you mentioned that
Sunspot,
you
the Hot Tub
Sun-
Sunspot.
well, I have Hot Tub Sunspot too.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. That, yeah, they are. They're a lot of the early ones you're going to get to see in that collector's shop. Yep.
Yep, it's going to be interesting. If you don't have them, then it's going to be
Yeah.
very interesting. But we talked about this a little bit earlier. We've got the Toon Pool bundle with, it's fine. It wouldn't
This
be
one
my
is,
preferred. It's it's
yeah.
it's good value. You do get a decent amount of gold for $10. It's it is fine.
Hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, not bad at all.
But this is the one that I know you're very
Oh
excited
man.
about. The Galactus. I actually have it in my notes and in my file names is the Whaleactus bundle because that is
Yeah,
100% what it is. Like this is,
it is.
and I don't
It
think
is.
it is as good a value as the other whale bundles, like the collector bundle.
Here's the thing though. When you
Yes.
look at it from the dwindling gold point, I honestly thought for sure this was going to get changed because I
Mm,
thought they were going to downgrade the gold.
yeah.
When you're looking at it from that standpoint, you're getting 5K, which is
Yep.
a lot now,
Hmm.
and 2 keys, which are supposedly, if I'm correct, they said they're worth about 2,000 a piece in
Well, they said
monetary value.
$50 each for keys. I think they is what they valued it at.
Okay. So, I mean, what you're getting here, you're not, and you're not getting tokens.
No.
So, and I look at tokens like this. When you have close to 10K,
Mm,
you don't want to get more because you're at a point where it's going to keep telling you can't open stuff because you
yep.
have over 10,000K, over 10K tokens. So
Credits, you
I
mean,
always
right?
try to, yeah. So credits, sorry, credits. Yeah, I usually end up sitting like 9,000 in and around that mark on
Mm,
tokens. So I don't want a lot of them. And for this, I think the keys are worth it too. And along with the gold and the fact that that's probably going to end up looking, I can't wait to split that sucker.
it's going to be pretty, yeah.
That's going to be one of the coolest Galactuses I think that there is out there. So yeah, I know there are people that are just Galactus fans that are probably going to do this. I was
Yep.
I was a little mad when I saw that this was in here because I
Yep.
saw it. I saw the bundle show, or I saw the card shown, and I'm like, oh man. And but yeah, it's hard, but if you can swing it, it probably is worth it unless they happen to change that before tomorrow, which they could.
Yeah, but
But
I don't think they
I
will.
don't think they
I
will
think
either this
they've
late.
gotten bit too many times by doing
Yeah, I
that.
agree. Yeah, I
Um,
agree.
and the
But
last one is still I think active until the 24th, and it's the collector's bundle. It's not exciting. It's a
no,
decent value,
yeah.
but it depends on where you are. If you're new in the game, something like this is a great way of accelerating your collection level because
Yeah.
but this will
Yep.
do you quite a bit. If you want to increase your collection level, you want to try and finish off your series 3 cards. There's worse ways to do it. That's I think what this is for, or for people that
Yeah.
are big content creators and they want more credits to split cards because it is still a reasonable
Mm-hmm.
price.
Just gonna say, do yourself a favor, get it from the Newverse shop, because if
Yes.
you do, you'll get a whole bunch of bonus stuff with it
Yep.
too.
I was looking through. I found the Beautiful Beyond Compare, the collector bundle from back in May of 2023, and its value was very similar. I'm going to pull it back up to the Eater of Worlds bundle. The bundle value was 180% because collector was just a very early series card. He was a series 2 card, so he doesn't have a lot of value versus Galactus is a series 5. Came with 10,000 tokens, 500 credits, and 500 gold. I actually think that was the salt in the wound. It's like, here's your pittance of credits, your pittance of gold, but you get a card and you get a whole bunch of tokens. Back when,
Yep.
whatever. Anyway,
Yeah.
I know people are going to get this, and I'm interested in seeing what it looks like on their end. I will live vicariously through all of you who have this one. I am thrilled with the Jacinto Spotlight one. That to me is just a dream.
The Galactus. Yeah.
Yep. But we
Yeah.
will move on now. We have the all right, so we will move on from that and bring out the next set. We've got our locations that are coming up. We've got some hot locations that
Ooh, my
are
most favorite thing in all of Snap that people probably know by now. I did a
uh-huh.
top 10. I did my top 10 on the show, worst locations in the game, like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, dude, some of these are so annoying. I would not be sad if hot locations went away at all. I would not. And I understand that they're pretty steadfast behind them.
Yeah.
And I get it, but at least I said at least move them to weeks 2 and 3. Don't have them
Yeah.
on the first week when people are trying to climb.
And don't have them on
And
the
don't
last week, for Christ's sake.
right
Yeah.
when people are trying to climb at the very last part of the season. But yeah, this. I mean, Clintar is one of the worst. This is awful. This is an awful location.
Yep.
It takes your cards and combines them into one stupid symbiote.
Yep.
Now Fogwells is fine. You're going to get extra boosters. I don't care. That's perfectly fine.
Yep. Fogwells they could have every week, and I think people would be thrilled to have. Oh,
sure, you get absolutely. Yep,
absolutely thrilled. But yeah, Clintar. I mean, Clintar's not the worst. Like it doesn't really favor anyone specifically. It's just an annoying location.
It's actually not bad if you're playing Clog, because it's just going to combine it all into one card, and then you're going to get rid of those spaces in your deck or in your in your game. So but yeah, it's not horrible. That's not a horrible one, and it kind of fits the theme of the Venom a month. So I get that.
I concur. Clintar, I think. Hold on, I've got it noted here. Okay, so we've got for the hot locations, we've got Clintar that's ending is on the 27th, and Fogwell's Gym is coming up on the Wednesday. Which, if you're gonna have a hot location, let it be Fogwell's Gym. So yeah, as we talked about, Clintar not great, but could be far worse. At least you could toss stuff in there that you don't need. But again, nothing really to write home about. But I think the big stuff is the stuff that's kind of coming soon. And we've got some interesting stuff. As we talked about, I notice you have all of your high voltage stuff all done.
Mm-hmm.
I am the same. It's free. It's easy. It was, I think, a great showing of, hey, we can try something different. I think people are going to be in massive withdrawal when this ends. I really, really do. I think it's going to be a huge hit for them to have this gone, because it's fun. It's just like, oh, I don't want to have any risk. I don't want to have to deal with, is this person going to snap in Proving Grounds? You can just go in, you're done in less than a couple minutes, and you get to just do insane combos. So I hope they bring it back. I hope it doesn't go away for too long. But we will have to see, I guess.
I think overall they probably got good reaction from it, at least from everybody that I've heard from or heard about. Like, loved playing the mode. It's nice because it's relaxing, because there's no pressure. It doesn't like I said, it doesn't matter if you win. There are a few little tweaks I think that they can make, like I mentioned earlier in the episode. If they make that change to some more, they keep out some more of the other cards, like the no fun cards, like Electro and other. If they take out a couple more cards. And then maybe give you a little more for winning a game instead of just a 20, maybe make it 50 or something like that. Maybe do that. And then, but other than that, that's just nitpicky. No, listen, I thought it was fun. I thought it's a good variance away from the rest of the game. It's something different to do. It's very simple. If you don't mind coming in and doing missions and stuff like that, there's no reason to spend gold, because you could still have this done most of the time. I think on average, probably people, if you're just doing the missions, are going to get this done in probably 5, 6, 7 days tops. Yep. So that's why they made it a week. And I did say before this came out that it's going to be easier than Deadpool's Diner, and it definitely was. Yep. So yeah, I think this is a win. I think this is a win for them. And yeah, like you said, I hope that they don't keep it out long, keep it away long. I hope they bring it back.
Agreed. And I don't know. I mean, the easy one is login rewards. You're always, if you're listening to this, you're playing Snap all the time.
You're logging in, right?
Yeah, you're logging in. So get your stuff. It's decent. This is one of the better ones I think that they've had. You get 3 borders in it. You get the premium mystery variant. Yeah, I don't care about the title or the boosters, because they're never boosters of things that I need the boosters for.
Boosters should never be offered in things like this or in bundles. Never. Yep. They should never be in those.
Well, I will say for certain bundles, like for the Galactus bundle, it does give you that ability to.
Well,
if you're out of boosters, you can split it and get
true.
a God split. Like I think the 310 that they offer is 2 full infinity splits of Galactus.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
So
true. That's
that's
true.
okay in those ones, but then just give 300. Like 300 boosters is nothing worth. So
I would have personally replaced those with something else. I would have replaced them with an avatar.
yep.
I'd replace them with something because to me, yeah, that little amount of boosters is not. I don't know. To me, it's not. So many times you'll get the random ones, and it's on a card you never use.
Yeah,
So it's like,
it
yeah,
always is. I have very rarely gotten boosters and it been for a card that I needed it for. And
yeah,
the couple of times that it has, it's confusing because it's generally a card that I have 0 boosters and I keep waiting for it to come up in the shop down at the bottom. And I just go, why haven't I seen that card in a week? And I go and look and I was like, oh, I must have gotten boosters because I've never paid attention unless I'm noting it down for the season caches at the very end. I don't remember what the boosters are. Like I click on them and I click away as fast as I can. Like I'm just trying to get
yep,
it out of the way. Like
yep. Agreed.
just get out of here. One thing that's coming up, I think you probably saw this, but I want to bring it up as well, is the potential new background. Now I know it says art, concept art, not finalized, but I
Oh
am
man,
all in for some new backgrounds.
yeah, let's go. I mean, I said on a show a couple of weeks ago that I'm tired of looking at the asteroid. It's run its course. I've had enough.
Yeah.
It's yeah. I have I've seen enough of that. Let's move on. And I think Cozy and Alex brought it up. They should. I think they probably have the ability to change these on a monthly basis, and I don't see
Easily.
why they wouldn't want to do that.
There is no reason why they can't. It's just literally a bit of animated art. Like,
This, by the way, is cool because it's the Savage Land. That is the
yeah, I
Savage
was gonna
Land that's
say
on there.
that looks like the Savage Land. You see the
Yeah,
little
that is
dinosaur
it.
in there.
Yep, the dinosaurs and the lava and all that. That's the so if they, I see. I would dig that. I would like if they changed, if they put on like maybe landscapes of different planets.
Mm,
You can have like the New York City skyline on there for Spider-Man. You could do. There's so many of these that they could do that I think it's just for Halloween do something with do a swamp for Man Thing, do a something like a castle for Dracula, but even you could even coincide these with the films.
mm-hmm.
When they come out with the new film with Doctor Doom in it, you could have a Latveria's castle. You could do that, and they really should be. This is something I think is a no-brainer, and a lot of people were asking for this on their upcoming wish list. So I was very, very glad to see this finally.
Yeah.
I just hope we just get more than just the one. I think
Agreed.
that this should just be changed a lot more often.
Not only that, but hopefully they don't charge us an arm and a leg for it. Hopefully it's
Yeah.
either free or it's earnable. Like I don't want to have to pay for another background. We've done this. People that were in the beta have done this for 2.5 years almost. Like they've
Yeah.
had the same exact background and we've had the same exact music. I was so surprised when I played High Voltage and I was like, oh wait, the music's different. Nice. And
Yeah.
it's good music. They're good at adding the music in there, but
Yep.
we'll see. Time will tell. I'm sure they're going to charge for it. Hope they just don't charge too much. Coming up in November, we have Deadpool's Diner 2.0, which I'm excited about. I really enjoyed Deadpool's Diner. Like I was surprised at how much I enjoyed the experience of Deadpool's Diner initially because I was in guest stream when it happened. I did not watch his video initially. I just went in and just kind of did my thing. But it didn't take long to figure out how to work it. Initially, I was like, oh, this is an energy system. I'm losing it and I have to do all of this sort of stuff. It's like, no, you just have to take your time and go a couple levels down. And if they do something with this that improves that slightly, I think it's going to be great. Like, I think it's just going to be a blast. And it's fitting for the Thanksgiving season. Did you get did you clear the entire track for Deadpool's Diner?
Yeah, I did. I got the Cassandra Nova variant and stuff like that. Yeah, I get it. A lot of people went in really not knowing. They went in all willy nilly, and they were betting every time you got up another level, and that's where you couldn't do. You had to play on lower levels and go through. I think everybody's probably going to be pretty square on that. And but yeah, as a football fan, I mean, you have Turduck in there, and that was a Madden staple back in the day, where John Madden's feeding players Turducken after they win the game on Thanksgiving. So yeah, look, I hope that they go into this a little differently. I hope they made it maybe a little easier to get to the cards this time. I know they're going to make some improvements here because they had a lot of pushback on
Yeah.
this when it first came out. So I know that there have even been some people saying they almost wish they would do high voltage again and not have Deadpool's Diner 2. I think this is where you might get King Eitri from.
Oh, okay.
Because that seems to be the odd man card out. So this could
Mm.
be where they might have him, and he looks like a really interesting card.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be fun. I think this is I liked it. I know a lot of people didn't, but I enjoyed it. Once I got the hang of it and I realized, okay, and I didn't spend any gold.
Yep.
But once I realized that, okay, you got to hang back a level or two and then just climb the ladder a little bit and then wait till you get enough to go on to the next level and then climb a little bit. You got to be a little patient. But once I realized that you could do that, and then it was like, I think No Big Deal mentioned it was like old style video games with save points.
Yes.
Once you got to that next save point, then you're like, okay, then you kind of stop and you slow down a little bit. You stay there for a little while, then you go on. You stay there for a little while and move on. Once you realize that, it wasn't bad. And I think, I think it's fun. And again, anytime they're going to put something in the game that's going to make it a little more fun, something a little different is a good thing. So,
and at the end of the day, it's a free card. If they can balance it, I don't want it to be as easy as high voltage, because high voltage was you do your missions, you get your stuff. This, there was a little bit of the competition in there. It didn't need to be as much as it was. Like, I would be okay if it was a little bit less intense than than the original Deadpool's Diner, but I don't want it to be as easy as high voltage, because high voltage really is just, you just keep doing it and you're gonna get it at some point. So a median in between those two would not be bad. And then we've got, of course, the most controversial, but also the one that I am most excited about. We've got the Collector's Vault that's coming out. So this is what I was mentioning earlier. So you've got in here, you can see now whether these are values that stick. You've got the Mystique for 2,500, the mediocre Red Skull for 2, the Spider-Man 14, Gamora 14, and Gambit 14. So that at least gives you some ideas to, I think, where you're going to expect to see the value. Like the 20 some odd ones are around that 2,000 gold mark. So I'm going to guess the
says 2,500 for the Mystique in the middle.
2,500 for the Mystique. But considering that was $25, but you're not getting things like the currency and any of the other stuff that comes along with it. So there is some balance there, but I'm worried about stuff like the expensive bundles, like the Collector Bundle, the Apocalypse Bundle, and the Sunspot bundles. Those were worth a lot of gold. They did come with other resources, but is that going to be prohibitively expensive? I mean, time is going to tell. We'll find out I can't believe that's coming out in 3 days. It feels like it was forever.
Yeah,
so
that's
3
crazy.
days, we will know. But as you can see, there's the mixture of the rares, the super rares, and the epics. And if you go to It's Guess Gaming on YouTube, he explained the whole thing, and I'll put a link to that. We'll have that in the description down below to his video, because it explains that. And there's also a link on the Snap site that talks about the appearance and how they'll show up and all of this other stuff. So it looks like you'll have a chance to get it, but it's going to be limited. And they said it's going to be here for a bit and then it's going to go away. So I don't know how long it's going to take for them to close it up, but hopefully it's long enough and it's reasonable enough. I hope 2,500 is kind of the top end of what they're going to charge people.
Yeah,
it's still too much, but
yeah, that's
it's a little bit less.
That's a good amount of money, but a good amount of gold, especially when gold, like I said, is tough to get a hold of. But yeah, I mean, look, if there's stuff that you wanted to get that you missed, that a lot of people you see a lot of people that might have. I mean, look, they do this everywhere. There's a collector's vault in Magic the Gathering. They do this in a lot of places. So it's basically, this is going to be good for people who just missed this stuff and maybe didn't even start playing until well after these have come out. I don't mind this. I mean, it's definitely and if people complain about the costs, look, you don't have to buy it. I mean, it's not something you need to play the game.
Yeah. So
you're getting it as a cosmetic. And, like I say, every time someone argues cosmetic stuff to me, it's like, you don't have to have them. they're fun to have, but you don't need it. And it's just like, mounts were in World of Warcraft. I didn't need to have like a really fun looking mount, but if I wanted it, it was there. And if I didn't, it didn't matter. So
yeah, I think if they're going to monetize it, this is a great place to monetize it. Monetize the cosmetics. There's no currency involved. You're just getting a cosmetic. You're getting a pretty picture to have on your phone. So that's, I'm all in.
Yep.
Good for me. And I think the very last thing was the drops, which end on the 24th. So if all goes well, this will be out on Tuesday when Toxin releases. So you've got another 2 days to get your drops. There's a metric ton of amazing creators that'll be streaming tomorrow, Tuesday, or the day that you watch this, and Wednesday. So you'll be able to get your drops in. It's only 6 hours, and it's a pretty decent set of drops. You get a premium mystery variant at the end, which for you and I, not the most exciting thing, but I think for
yeah, I got a pixel avatar.
Well, hey, I don't know what's worse, getting a pixel. Actually, no, getting a pixel avatar is worse because you can't upgrade that. You can't use that for anything. It is just a worthless thing. Although I will be honest, I tend to favor pixel avatars for my decks just because it's like, well, I've got it here. I might as well make everybody suffer with it.
You want me to show everybody what I got? I'm going to show you what I got. Ready?
Much do. Oof. Oh, and it looks even worse with the with the chroma key. He's just the eyes.
It's just so bad, man. It's funny because I watch Bink's streams a lot, and he loves these goofy avatars.
Yes,
he just and he'll go get the borders. Like if he got the pixel helicarrier, and he went right away and got a border for it. He loves like the goofy avatars. But yeah, I was like, oh my God, how can that get any worse? Like it's not even a good avatar; it's just a bad one.
Bad.
Yeah,
just bad. Is there anything that you can think of from the collection that you're missing that you wish you had gotten? Like I know, like I have the Mystique on here, but like the Gambit, the Gamora, the Spider-Man, I don't, and I don't know if I care about them, but I know I've got quite a few that I'm missing. What about you?
Let me go to my. I'm going to go to my Twitter.
You have a white whale variant that you're just like, oh, I really need this one.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I'm pretty sure someone shared the entire list, and I wish I probably should have shared it. I looked through, and there was nothing that really caught my eye. Like I was like, I know, like a lot of those early bundles and stuff, I got the stuff for. Like that Gambit, looking right here, the only one I don't have here is the Spider-Man. No, I do have the Spider-Man chibi. The only one I don't have of these is the Gamora.
Oh,
so
okay.
I have all the other ones on there. So it's like, and that's what I was going through. I was looking for some things, and I'm like, nothing really stood out to me. But then again, I haven't seen the full list of them either. So I'm sure, because they're all manufactured to your personal collection. So I'm sure when I get it, and I do have a decent amount of them, that stuff is going to pop up that I probably just forgot about. And in that case, there might be something I might see that may pop up. But like I said, this is a good idea. It allows people that have seen these variants over and over again, time and time again, that are like, well, I kind of wish I could get that. Now they can. And so I think it's fine.
And if they came in, a couple months late, there's a lot of stuff that they're not going to be able to get. Now they have the opportunity to spend currency to get a different picture. And that is the way that I have no complaints about them monetizing in that respect. So I personally, I'm looking forward. I think the only one I really, really missed was that Apocalypse one. So
the Jacinto Apocalypse is really cool. Yeah.
Joe, anything else that you want to talk about? Anything else you're excited about? Anything else that's screaming in your brain that needs to get out from Marvel Snap?
No, man. We're 2 cards away from the end of the season, and when we're going into Thor stuff, which I will be previewing on my show tomorrow for just a little bit, but I'm sure we'll go over the cards in more length on the next episode of this. But yeah, no, look, it's been a fun month. We got a new game mode. We got new stuff coming out. We got a surprise roadmap that no one really expected to come out when it did. So, and the character mastery thing is what has me. I am super excited for the character mastery thing, because I know all those cards I was playing in that old Galactus deck, Null, death. I am going to master every one of them because I have every single split that you can imagine, and I have all of the variants. So
Yep.
I'm excited for that. Now I know they said maybe not the end of the year, maybe early next year it might be coming out, but look, it's coming. It was something that they didn't even we thought was dead. We literally thought it was dead. They didn't mention it. They were saying it may not be coming out. So look, we got great news. We got good stuff coming out. We just had a good game mode that came out that we got a free card for. We're getting another one in November. So, and we got some really cool looking cards coming in November too. So, man, I know I'm going to steal little Alex Kocha here, but it's a great time to be a Marvel Snap player.
It is a great time indeed. And before we go, look, you've gotten a bit of a sneak peek on this, but look what I found. This is a list of all of the
cool. There it
cards
is.
that are in the collector's vault, or that can be in the collector's vault.
Yeah, now see, I'm looking there, and that's okay. There's the Sarah Angela bundle. I remember that one because I do have that one.
That one I do not have, and that's the other one that I'm like, ooh, maybe.
The Daredevil one I never got on that row. That was Daredevil and Elektra together in a bundle.
Yes, that was the lovers bundle or whatever.
The Hela green, the Gardner Hela. That's one of the few Helas that I have, actually. I never got a lot of stuff for her. Sandbay's there.
Yes.
Sandbay's there.
It has been a year. Can you believe it has been a year since Sandbay?
That's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy.
But, I know what we all know that everyone wants is this beautiful Invisible Woman. Don't you remember that Hero Invisible Woman?
Oh, God, the cartoon. That's that little skit cartoon. Well, that's where the Gambit and the Rogue are from, too, and Dr. Doom and Mr. Fantastic.
Well, the Gambit and the Rogue, I think, were either they were different or they were much less terrible.
They call them hero variants, though, I think.
Yeah,
all of them,
I think
are called hero variants. There's the Jungle variant with Kraven and White Tiger.
Yep.
And then, or the Jungle bundle, rather, with those two. There's a Sentinel there, Thor. I think Throg is one of them, the Thor Frog, if you didn't get the Thor Frog.
That one I did not get. That one I have regrets in that one.
Mobius, there you go. I found one. I didn't get the Mobius and Sylvie. Even more than the Mobius, I want the Sylvie. Is Sylvie in there? She should be. I don't see her.
Hold on. She would be under the E's. This is not in alphabetical order, so it is dang near impossible to.
The Sylvie one I wanted because that was the one from Loki. That was the Sylvie from the Loki series. Yep. So yeah, that one I would like to get. The Mobius. The Mobius is cool too. I would probably like to get either one of those. Now that was an expensive. That was $100 bundle.
It was pricey, and it wasn't a very good value bundle either.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, no, you're right. It wasn't.
Throg in here, but I know Throg is part of it.
Throg is under Mr. Negative. He's right under Mr. Negative. Look up on the top row you have there, Mr. Negative. Go right below.
There he is. Okay, yeah. I didn't see
because he's right next to Mooster Fantastic.
Yes. Those ones I love so very much. Like those are some of my favorites. But again, a lot of these are for cards you're not going to play. Like the Apocalypse, sure.
That's true.
But the Dark Hawk is the one that I have a lot of regret for not getting. So we shall see. I think that's 3 times.
The Shang-Chi is an amazing Shang-Chi with the fire around him. That's one of my favorite ones. A lot of Sandman. There's like 3 Sandman ones in here.
And right now, Sandman is definitely not the card of the
that's not a card you're going to want to play now. Yeah, for sure. But, there you go. So you got the first look here. There they are.
I'll put the links to the Reddit post that I found in there so you can actually look and see it better than what you can see here.
Nice. Yeah. So they're the Mobius and Sylvie definitely I'll be probably looking forward to seeing in my shop. But
you don't want the creepy photographer like the paparazzi leech.
Yep.
Do you have that one?
Where is he?
He's down at the bottom. He's the 3rd row from the bottom on the right hand side.
Oh, the creepy camera holding leech. I think I do have that one. Yeah. Leech is the spying leech.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh man, it's crazy. It brings back memories. It does, because like you haven't seen these in so long.
Yeah.
That you forget when and how long they came out. But yeah, like I said, I mean it's a cool thing. It's cool for people to get that don't already have them and stuff. Yeah, I have Spyglass Leech. Yeah. So. And then the tarot is there for Magic too. If you don't have
Yes.
the tarot card
And
Magic,
that
which
was
I think is
I
pretty
think that
cool.
was a relatively inexpensive one too.
Yeah,
But I don't know,
yeah,
that Jacinto Darkhawk it's going to be so expensive.
yeah. That one I don't have. I don't have a lot of Darkhawk variants. I think I
Mm-mm.
might only have like maybe two. I never really got a lot. There's two of them on there too. There's a Darkhawk down at the bottom
Yeah.
right, and there's one
And
right in the
then
middle.
the one right in the middle, if I'm not mistaken, that's the 3 times value one that created all the. Oh my god, the amount of
Oh, the
snark posts on
controversy.
that one.
That's the controversial one that they put out. Right? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep, I remember that one. The Noir Doc Ock is there too on the left of that
Yes.
row.
Yeah, I really like the Noir Doc Ock.
Yeah,
It's
I
some of these
remember
I'm
that
looking at
there.
and I'm going, that was a year ago. What? Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
Like
it's
how was that
crazy.
a year ago? How was it a
It's
year ago?
crazy.
Like
Yeah.
insane. Well,
There's going to
Joe,
be a lot of people that'll be doing this. So, yeah,
yep,
cool.
I agree. Joe, tell people where they can find you.
I am, of course, Snap Decisions, part of the Snap Judgments podcast network. I do a live podcast on my YouTube page every single Tuesday. The times can vary depending on when I'm working, but I like to try to have it in the afternoon, usually before the card comes out. Tomorrow it'll be 1:30. I also have guests on the show from time to time. This week I have Robitussin. Little Robitussin's coming on Wednesday with me, so we'll talk all about Snap. And then, of course, Thursday is an OTA. We will. I think the last one you and I did, right? Yeah, we did the
Yes. Yep.
OTA review the last time. So
We sure
there you
did.
go. Maybe Nick and I will get back together, do the OTA review for Thursday.
We'll have to
But
do
yeah,
that one
that's
both on the go because I will be away, but I might have some
oh,
free
that's right. Yeah,
time. But
yeah,
we'll see. Maybe we can make it work.
yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, we'll see if we can do it. But otherwise, yeah, that's where you can find me. Obviously on YouTube. I am also on all podcasting formats, so Spotify, Apple, all that good stuff. Yeah, if you go to my YouTube page, make sure you sub and of course like the videos that you watch. And if you are listening on audio, make sure you give me a comment or rate the podcast. It helps out quite a bit. And yeah, so that's where you can find me.
Perfect. And all of those links for you will be in the show notes as well. Same with how to
Awesome.
go and rate it because I think that's really important for
Mhm.
visibility. And
Yep, for sure.
for me, you can find me. I'm part of the Power On team, which has amazing creators like Tucker. Roby is a part of that as well. Perry Manilow, Gregor, everybody that's cool. I feel like I got very lucky and in the Cool Kids Club
Gaming with
as some of
Flash,
the
right?
nicest. Yes, Flash is a part of it.
Mhm.
You can't miss he is the Midnight Gang. He's there when everyone else is asleep, and it's lovely. And he's a great voice to go to sleep to as well.
Yeah, he
But
is. Yeah, he was
but come
awesome.
find me on Twitter. I'm there all the time. I'm in the Power On Discord, which I'll have a link to down below. Which Joe, I think I need to get you a part in there too. 'Cause
Oh
there's
yeah,
cool
yeah,
stuff coming
yeah,
on. So
yeah,
we'll
for
get
sure.
you in there. But come join us. All our links down below. My name is where you'll find me on Twitch, which I need to start streaming more on, and Twitter and everything else. So we will see you maybe not next week, but we'll see you the week after that. I will be back and ready to go. And hopefully we can get together and do an OTA video this week. I would like to do that because, like I said,
Yeah,
I'm going to have some downtime. I'm not doing any singing. All of my family is, and I'll let them do all the hard work, and I'll just have some fun. So thank you,
there
Joe,
you
for
go.
your time today. I appreciate it. I'm really enjoying this and our inaugural episode. I don't have a bottle of champagne to smash against anywhere, but hold on. We've got our plastic bottles of our drinks.
Yes, there
Let's
you go.
cheers to the camera.
Yes,
Cheers.
there you go.
Clink and break and all of that jazz. Thank you, Joe, for being here today, and I'm looking
Absolutely,
forward to
man. Thank you
continuing
for
this.
doing all this amazing work with the graphics and everything else. Yeah, it's going to be fun, man. I knew that the two of us kind of hit it off, and we got along really well the first time we spoke. So yeah, you're going to look forward to a lot of two dudes snapping coming up.
Yep. Mini audiobooks as looking at the time code on the bottom here, mini audiobooks, but that's okay. I love it. All right, Joe. Thank you. We'll see you next time. Enjoy. Wait, what? We need a good outro saying. We'll have to think
Yeah,
about that.
like
No,
what
'cause we
Cozy
can't
and
do the
Alex
just keep snapping because
keep on
that's
snapping. Yeah, I know
yeah,
that's been done to death.
it has. Well, how about we workshop it? We don't have an outro
Yeah,
yet, but maybe
yeah.
by the end of next episode we will have a good outro.
Yeah, we'll have to think about that one because I can think of probably some Marvel phrases and stuff like that too, maybe from the old style comics and
There you
stuff.
go.
So Yeah, we could rip off Stan and use Excelsior, but that would probably get us caught in some lawsuit issues.
With
So
our luck, yeah. Instead, come back to
yeah,
life and sue us directly. But
yeah,
yeah.
right.
Well, have a good week, Snap and Joe, and we'll talk to you very soon.
All right, take care, guys.
Peace out.